Chapter 88. A rebellion? How did it happen so fast? What's the current situation like? How did the bandits of the Blackwater Mountain Range get dealt with? Is the Shangguan clan really going to join hands with us? Qin Yu impatiently asks Manager Li. Qin Yu is obviously greatly shocked by his father's action so early. He simply did not expect that his father would take action so early. In the past, Qin Yu was worried about the Qin clan's plan to unify the entire Chu kingdom. After all, the Xiang clan is too powerful, and his own clan is threatened by the bandits. Third Prince, don't worry. Everything has been well prepared for His Highness's rebellion. With a single order, they swept through everything. The army suffered almost no losses. Now they have already occupied 10 counties of the Chu kingdom. Manager Li says while waving his hand. He still does not know that at the moment Jinyang County has already been breached. After all, the news does not arrive so quickly. Qin Yu is startled. What? 10 counties? Qin Yu simply cannot imagine how his father dealt with the Mu clan and the Shangguan clan in such a short time. Haha, Third Prince, His Highness is a strategist. There are many things you don't know about. The 300,000 bandits of the Blackwater Mountain Range secretly pledged their loyalty to the Qin clan long ago. As for the Shangguan clan, they wanted to plot against the Qin clan, but His Highness took control of the 2 northern region counties in one fell swoop. As for the 3 southern region counties, I don't know what happened either. I just inexplicably took refuge with His Highness. Qin Yu has more or less understood the course of the war in an instant. The 2 northern region counties? Plot. Qin Yu knows that his father has taken control of the 2 northern region counties, so he can roughly guess some of the plots, such as assassination, framing, and so on. Qin Yu's thick eyebrows frown. His eyes glitter. Uncle Li, where is my father now? And big brother and second brother? At the moment Qin Yu wants to see his relatives the most. After all, they have been separated for such a long time. Moreover, now he presumably can also help them. Manager Li thinks for a while then says, His Highness is in the town of Xiang, which is close to the Blackwater Mountain Range. His Highness is leading the army in Leishui County. Second Prince is in the town of Wuxue, which is next to Xiang. Xiang Town? Qin Yu's eyes lit up. Qin Yu had left Misty Villa at the age of 13 and started to take on assassin missions. He often traveled around the Chu kingdom with Xiao He, so he was very familiar with many cities and even small towns. As soon as the town of Xiang was mentioned, Qin Yu immediately remembered it. In the courtyard of the town of Xiang. Your Highness, if that Xiang Yang really wants to kill you, won't Your Highness lose your life? No matter what, Your Highness shouldn't joke around with your own life. Su Yuan said to Qinda with resentment. However, seeing that Qinda was still alive, Su Yuan also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The brocade pouch that Qinda left for him described how to deal with the various affairs of the Qin clan once Qinda died. Seeing the contents of the brocade pouch, Su Yuan knew that something was wrong. Fortunately, Qinda survived and flew down from the sky. Su Yuan, for an early-stage Yuanying expert like me, as a Zionist, it's basically impossible for me to hide. In the mortal world, I, who reached the Jin Dan stage, was like a bright lamp in the dark. He could find me very quickly, Qinda said with an indifferent smile. Su Yuan could also understand what he meant, but he still said, Your Highness, is Xiang Yang really that formidable? Even you and Shangshin Finjiuzi couldn't deal with him? Su Yuan was very intelligent, but unfortunately, he still didn't know anything about the Zionist world. Qinda couldn't help giving a faint bitter smile. Even if Finjiuzi and I joined hands, we still wouldn't be able to hurt a single hair on Xiang Yang's head. Early stage Yuanying, huh? The difference in power is too big. Qinda was worried in his heart about how to deal with this Xiang Yang. If he can't deal with Xiang Yang, even if the Qin clan can seize the world, perhaps the furious Xiang Yang will still kill all the Qin clan members. I can only have all the troops stop attacking for the time being. If I can't deal with this problem, attacking again will only provoke this terrifying guy Xiang Yang. Qinda frowned deeply. Just now when Xiang Yang left, he had already ordered the troops to stop attacking. Xiang Yang, a super expert of the early stage Yuanying, How can I deal with him? Chinda thought hard. But when the difference in power between Ziationists is too big, schemes and tricks are useless. Your Highness, did Wuda come just now? A clear voice was heard. Chinda raised his head and saw Fingiuzi flying directly into the courtyard from a distant place on a flying sword. There was a slightly anxious look in Fingiuzi's eyes. Wuda. If it was only Wuda, it would have been fine. The ancestor of the Xiang clan, Xiang Yang, also came. Chinda shook his head and said smilingly. Fingiuzi had also heard of Xiang Yang's great name. He slightly frowned and said, Xiang Yang? He was the first emperor of the Xiang clan. If he was still alive, he would have been practicing for nearly 1,000 years. Perhaps his power is similar to Wuda's. Similar? If they were only similar, I wouldn't be so distressed. Early stage Yuanying, Chinda said directly. Then Xiang Yang has reached the early stage of Yuanying. What? Heavens! Early stage Yuanying? How is this possible? The difference is too big, too big. Fenjiazi's face changed color completely. This early stage Yuanying could deal with 3 or 4 late stage Jindan experts. He was only a middle stage Jindan expert, while Chinda was only at the early stage of Jindan. There was simply no comparison. Now that the Xiang clan has such a super expert, won't your plan be ruined? Fenjiazi knew a lot about Chinda. He did not know anything else, but one thing he knew. Early stage Yuanying experts could not be killed by using human wave tactics, and neither could he be killed by Chinda and him. Chinda gave a frustrated smile. Brother Feng, don't worry so much. Let's play a game of chess first. Generally, when Chinda came across a problem that he could not solve even after racking his brains, he would put it aside and take a rest first before continuing to think. Fingiuzi also nodded. Then I'll play a game of chess with you, Your Highness. Chinda and Fingiuzi then sat down and began to play Go with peace of mind. In Qin Feng's house in Leishui County, General, His Highness has ordered us to only defend the city and not go out to attack. A messenger told Qin Feng's order openly. Hearing this order, Qin Feng could not help asking in reply, When will we start the war then? The messenger said. His Highness said there is no need to fight for the time being unless he gives another order. Frowning, Qin Feng waved his hand to let the messenger leave. But in his mind he began to think, doesn't father want us to stop fighting by giving such an order? Moreover, he doesn't have a clear time limit. We're about to win the war. Why does father? General, does His Highness have any orders? A middle-aged man of about 40 years old walked in. Qin Feng said with a nod. Yes, my father has ordered us to only defend the city and not go out to attack. Moreover, there's no clear time limit. The middle-aged man slightly frowned, but he said nothing. Brother Shiman, I'll leave my 100,000 troops to you for the time being. Remember, you only need to defend the city and never go out to attack. I'm going to see my father in person to see what's going on. Qin Feng was not at ease after receiving this order. He was not worried that something would happen if he left. After all, if the war started again, his father would definitely send someone to give him an order. At that time, he would be in the town of Xiang, so he would naturally receive the order. Your Highness, you're leaving now? Shiman Xian asked doubtfully. Qin Feng nodded. I'll leave right away. This is my ID badge. I believe in your ability to only defend the city. In terms of defense, I'm not as good as you, Brother Shiman. Qin Feng said smilingly. He was very relieved to leave this matter of defense to the experienced and prudent Shiman Xian. Chinda and Fingiuzi unexpectedly played Go continuously for 12 to 14 hours, as if they had forgotten the time. Su Yuan watched the game on one side without saying anything. He also knew that Chinda and Fingiuzi were not ordinary people, so it was not a big deal even if they did not eat. Therefore, he did not disturb Chinda and Fingiuzi. Instead, he had a meal halfway through the game. Chinda took a white Go piece and thought for a long time, but did not put it down. Fingiuzi just watched him without urging him. After a long time, a hint of joy suddenly appeared on Chinda's face. He put down the white Go piece with a bang. Brother Feng, I think you owe. Both Chinda and Fingiuzi suddenly stood up and looked towards the east. Experts who are far more powerful than you and me. Qinda's expression was very solemn. The appearance of Xiang Yang was already a headache for him. Now there seemed to be two very powerful auras, rushing extremely fast from the distance. Just looking at their speed, it was extremely frightening. Fenjiazi's expression was also solemn. Whiz! A black blur, and a pale silver blur, directly rushed down extremely fast from the sky like Lu Xing. Almost in the blink of an eye, they arrived in the courtyard from the sky. The appearances of these two mysterious experts were finally revealed. Qinda was dumbfounded in an instant. Fenjiuzi and Su Yuan were also dumbfounded. The three of them looked at the youth in front of them in disbelief. That familiar aura, that familiar expression, and even that familiar black eagle. Father! Qin Yu finally cried out for the first time while choking with sobs. He had spent more than 10 months in the untainted land, and traveled 100,000 li, to cultivate arduously. He had finally returned and seen his father Qinda. Hearing this, Qinda's whole body shook. Qinda's eyes were full of disbelief and ecstasy. It was simply impossible to believe that a person's eyes could have so many meanings. You are. Qinda said with a trembling voice. It's you. You're still alive? Am I dreaming? Qinda simply could not believe this. Qin Yu, whose heart was pierced in front of him that day, was now alive in front of him. However, Qinda also wanted his son to really be alive. Qin Yu nodded heavily, but his eyes were moist. Father, I'm alive. I'm still alive. The father and son stared at each other, without saying a word. All their emotions were transmitted through their eyes. A person's aura would gradually change along with his cultivation and comprehension, but the change would not be big. Fenjiuzi also noticed that the aura of this person, who looked exactly like Qin Yu, was very similar to that of Qin Yu. However, his aura was steadier than that of Qin Yu. At the same time, it contained a fiercer momentum. As for Qinda, there was no need to doubt him at all. Qinda had already completely judged Qin Yu's eyes, and the exchange of their eyes. At the same time, because of the blood connection between father and son, Qinda was 100% sure that the person in front of him was his son, even though he simply could not understand how his son had come back to life. However, did he still need to investigate? It was already very lucky that his son had come back to life. He had already thanked the heavens and the earth. Why should he investigate how Qin Yu had come back to life? It was still very late at night, but Qinda immediately ordered his subordinates to prepare a sumptuous banquet. Ever since he came back from the tribulation, he had never been so happy and excited. He did not even pay much attention to what he ate and drank. Because Qinda was so excited to prepare a banquet all of a sudden, the chefs under his command also started to work in full swing. Late at night, the entire town of Xi'an was lit up with fire everywhere. In the courtyard of Qinda's residence, Qinda, Su Yuan, Fenjiuzi and Qin Yu were sitting around a stone table. Dishes were served one after another. They stopped temporarily after filling 6 plates. Not far from the stone table, there was a huge roast lamb prepared for Xiaohei. Xiaohei, I didn't know you also liked cooked food. I used to think you only liked to eat wild animals. Qin Yu said to Xiaohei through holy sense communication. Just now when they started to put plates of dishes on the stone table, Xiaohei unexpectedly told Qin Yu, through holy sense communication, that he wanted to eat roast lamb. Qin Yu naturally told his father about this. Qinda could feel Xiaohei's power, so he secretly sighed at how formidable Xiaohei was. As soon as he heard what Qin Yu said, he immediately ordered his men to prepare roast lamb. Are you blaming me? Big brother, I didn't undergo the tribulation in the past, so my intelligence wasn't too high. After overcoming the tribulation, I had to practice and train hard all the way back. If we roasted wild animals with our true fire, I suppose they would have turned into ashes in an instant. Xiaohei said helplessly. After going through the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation, Xiaohei's intelligence was about the same as that of a human being, so naturally he had many ideas. I really didn't expect that the beam of light that was like a heavenly tribulation was actually a transmission technique. You've been practicing in the wilderness for so long, so you should have already gone through the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation. Father feels that not only have you surpassed me, you've also surpassed your Uncle Feng. Qinda sighed. Qin Yu said with a smile. There are many demonic beasts in the wilderness. I also killed some demonic beasts and refined the power of Jin Dan. That's why I improved so quickly. As for my strength, it shouldn't be a problem for me to deal with late Jin Dan experts. Qin Yu said this modestly. It was simply impossible to judge his and Xiao Hei's strength from their appearance. Back then, Qin Yu was at the early nebula stage and Xiao Hei was at the early Jin Dan stage. One man and one eagle used their unique skills to kill 2 late Jin Dan stage black wind leopards. Later, after refining 2 late Jin Dan stage, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei both advanced a step. Now Qin Yu is at the middle nebula stage and Xiao Hei is at the middle Jin Dan stage. It will be really easy for them to deal with late Jin Dan stage experts. As soon as Qin Yu finished speaking, the sound of hoof beats rose outside the courtyard. Father! Along with a familiar voice, the gate of the courtyard opened. Qin Feng hurried for a long time at top speed, and finally arrived at the town of Xiang. He went straight to this courtyard. Father, why did you order? Xiao Yu. Seeing Qin Yu, Qin Feng was stupefied as if his whole body had been struck by lightning. Chapter 89. Big Brother. Qin Yu also suddenly stands up from his seat. His eyes are full of excitement. However, at this moment Qin Feng's shock is far greater than Qin Yu's. When he first learned of Qin Yu's death, Qin Feng's heart was in pain and grief for a long time. In this war, Qin Feng also wanted to avenge his third brother. However, at this moment his third brother is unexpectedly standing in front of him alive. Xiao Yu. Qin Feng does not know what to say all of a sudden. Feng, sit down quickly. You'll know about you later. Don't look. It's your third brother. Your third brother is indeed alive and well. Qinda is also very happy. How long has it been since Qinda last smiled so happily? Qin Feng suddenly shakes his head. Who cares? As long as his third brother is alive, it's a happy event. Qin Yu also sits down at once. The 5 of them sit in a circle. Qinda says, You continue to talk about what happened to you in the wilderness. Just now Qin Yu said that he was hit by that beam of light and was sent to the wilderness, but he did not say anything else. Qin Yu says smilingly, When I was transmitted to my master's residence in the wilderness, I started to practice peacefully. Later on, I sensed that the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation was coming soon. But Xiao Hei crossed the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation earlier than me. Qin Yu looks at Xiao Hei smilingly. Qinda, Qin Feng, Fin Jiuzi and Su Yuan all look at Xiao Hei with amazement in their eyes. When Qin Yu was 7 years old, he took in an eagle chick. Qinda and the others all know about this, so they can naturally calculate the time that Xiao Hei has been practicing. Generally, demonic beasts with relatively low intelligence find it harder to practice than human beings. To reach the state of crossing the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation in just 10 odd years is almost a shocking thing. Xiao Yu, Fin Jiuzi exclaims. At that time I couldn't tell what kind of black eagle your eagle was. Now it has entered the state of Jin Dan so quickly. It seems this black eagle must belong to a very special demonic beast. Xiao Hei flapped his wings, looking very happy. However, Xiao Hei did not communicate with the others through his spiritual sense. Haha, Xiao Yu and this black eagle are both freaks. I think it's amazing that I've reached the late Xiantian stage at such a young age. Xiao Yu isn't even 20 yet, but he's already passed the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation. Xiao Hei has also passed it. This man and eagle are really freaks. Qin Feng drank his wine and laughed out loud. Qinda also drinks a cup of wine and says to Qin Feng, Feng, your third brother has not only passed the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation. Now you can even defeat Jin Dan stage experts. Not long ago, Brother Feng and I discovered you and this black hawk with our spiritual awareness. Their speed is more than 10 times faster than my art of sword flight. Qin Yu cultivated the stellar transformations, and the power of the stars flowed from the nebula outside his body to the nebula inside his body, forming a cycle. The power of the stars continued to flow through his muscles and bones, and it was also a process of tempering his muscles and bones. Qin Yu's body could be compared to a holy weapon. Without using a flying sword, Qin Yu, who had reached the middle nebula stage, was able to fly faster than Qinda. Once he stepped on a flying sword, his speed became even faster. As for using the man and weapon unification, it was normal for him to be faster than Qinda by 10 times. A Zionist's flying speed was also a reflection of his power. Qin Yu's speed is so fast that even Qinda and Fenjiuzi believe in his power. Father, if you keep talking, I'm going to die of shame. He can even defeat a late Jin Dan stage expert. I'm only at the late Xiantian stage, and I'm still the big brother. Although Qin Feng said so, he was actually very happy. On one side, Su Yuan said, "All right, all of you don't have to be modest. Qin Feng, you've reached the late Xiantian stage at such a young age, and you're already ashamed of yourself. Then why don't I, an old guy who hasn't reached the Xiantian stage, go home and be sad?" Hearing Su Yuan's words, the people present could not help bursting into laughter. Su Yuan's talent in martial arts is indeed ordinary. After so many years, he still has not reached the Xiantian stage. All right, you are go on. What happened to you later in the wilderness? Qinda asked with a smile. The others also looked at Qin Yu. They were all very curious about the mysterious wilderness. Although they had not yet reached the depths of the wilderness, in the past few Shangxian dared to do so. Qin Yu drank a cup of wine and said frankly with assurance, Xiao He and I had to face the heavenly tribulation. In fact, Xiao Hei's heavenly tribulation was rather dangerous. It was mainly because there were nearly 1,000 blue flame wolves in a mountain forest nearby. Although none of them were at the Jin Dan stage, the weakest of them were at the early Xiantian stage. Plus, there were so many of them. When Xiao He was going through his 4-in-9 heavenly tribulation, nearly 1,000 blue flame wolves unexpectedly besieged us. Everybody stopped eating and drinking. Nearly 1,000 Xiantian demonic beasts besieged them. Moreover, they also knew that Qin Yu had not yet undergone his tribulation, and his power was only at the peak of the Xiantian stage. Although they saw that Qin Yu was still alive and well, they were still worried about Qin Yu at that time. Big brother, don't tell anyone that I have hereditary memories. Xiao Hei's voice suddenly sounded in Qin Yu's mind. Qin Yu smiled and said through his holy sense, Don't worry, I won't tell anyone your secret. Qin Yu continued to talk about what happened at that time. Luckily I had the flaming sword and the flaming gloves, so I risked my life. After Xiao He passed his 4-in-9 heavenly tribulation, his power increased greatly, and he killed quite a few blue flame wolves in one breath. Only then did those wolves leave. Hearing this, Qin Yu and the others let out a long sigh of relief. However, they also knew that the scene at that time must have been extremely tragic. After all, there were close to 1,000 blue fire wolves. If they attacked from all directions, there would be blue fire wolves. After a long time, Qin Yu finally finished talking about this trip to the untainted land briefly. Of course, Qin Yu did not mention that his master Lei Wei came from another universe, nor did Qin Yu mention some secret methods of the stellar transformations. Divine Beast Dragon Rocky Lion, Divine Beast Red Luan, Fenjiuzi gasped. Hearing the last part of Qin Yu's story, they could even feel how formidable these two divine beasts were from Qin Yu's words. Divine beasts are divine beasts only because they are very talented. Divine beasts are also very weak when they are just born. But divine beasts at the Yuanying stage are absolutely invincible for Fenjiuzi and the others. At least at the Yuanying stage. Moreover, they are the Dragon Rocky Lion whose defense and attack are ridiculously strong, and the Red Luan which is like a phoenix. Even at the Yuanying stage, these two divine beasts can definitely catch up with Dongshu stage Xiationists. As a Xiationist, Fenjiuzi knows about some demonic beasts. Qinda and the others are speechless. Dongshu stage Xiationists? This is already beyond their imagination. From the Yuanying stage to the Dongshu stage, one has to go through the 6 to 9 major heavenly tribulations. The gap between the Yuanying stage and the Dongshu stage is a threshold. In Qinda and Fenjiuzi's eyes, Xiang Yang, who is only at the early Yuanying stage, is already invincible. In front of such an expert, Qinda and Fenjiuzi are like babies in front of a giant. Not bad, not bad. Qinda was also scared for his son. Qin Yu says helplessly, There's nothing we can do about it. They were really too strong. Luckily, the Red Luan appeared at the end and fought that dragon Rocky Lion. Otherwise, Xiao He and I would have been eaten by it. The dragon Rocky Lion was really too strong. Recalling the scene at that time, Qin Yu still feels a sense of oppression. It's more than strong. The defense of a dragon Rocky Lion is even stronger than that of a dragon of the same rank. Even a Dongshu stage Zionist would need a high-grade flying sword to break the defense of a Yuanying stage dragon Rocky Lion. A Yuanying stage Zionist wouldn't be able to hurt a dragon Rocky Lion, even if he had a high-grade flying sword. As for the Red Luan, an ordinary flying sword would have been directly melted by its protective flame before it could even get close to it. Fenjiuzi says with a little excitement. Everybody is silent for a while. For Fenjiuzi and the others, who are still bitterly training in the Jindan stage, such a divine beast is something they can only look up to. Well, this kind of divine beast won't leave the wilderness. What are you worried about? Seeing their expressions, Fenjiuzi hurriedly comforts them. But Fenjiuzi shakes his head and says with a smile, No wonder, no wonder. There are so many demonic beasts in the wilderness. Even Zionists from the overseas immortal islands don't dare to go deep into the wilderness. They only dare to wander around the border. 2 divine beasts of at least the Yuanying stage have appeared even before they have entered the depths of the wilderness. Then what kind of existences will there be in the depths of the wilderness? The depths of the wilderness? Perhaps even Deshang stage experts won't dare to go there. Qin Yu says in his mind. From some of Lei Wei's books and notes, he also knows the terrors of the depths of the wilderness. Even though Lei Wei has the power to kill a Deshang stage expert, he did not dare to go any closer when he was approaching the depths of the wilderness. After talking about Qin Yu's journey to the wilderness, everybody talks about the process of the Qin clan's uprising. After a very long time, everybody has drunk a lot of wine and eaten a lot of dishes. At this moment, a ray of light unexpectedly appears in the sky. It is already dawn. This banquet, which has lasted for half the night, is still not over. Father, this time you ordered us not to attack, and only allowed us to defend the city. Why is that? Now we've already occupied 11 counties. As long as the 3 sides besiege us, destroying Bachu County will be a piece of cake. Only now does Qin Feng remember the purpose of this banquet. As soon as Qin De hears this, he gives a slight forced smile. Su Yuan says, Qin Feng, you don't know, but yesterday Xiang Yang of the Xiang clan came. Xiang Yang. Xiang Yang. Qin Yu and Qin Yu exclaim almost at the same time. Qin Yu continues. Could it be that Xiang Yang, the first emperor who really founded the Chu dynasty? Qin Yu also looks at Su Yuan and Qin De. In his heart, he is also very amazed. Yes, it's him. Qin De says with a nod. Moreover, he's already reached the early stage of Yuanying. Qin Yu's face slightly changes color. In his mind, however, he thinks to himself. This Xiang Yang has already reached the early stage of Yuanying. When he was at the early stage of Nebula, he killed a black-winged leopard at the late stage of Jindan. Now he has even reached the middle stage of Nebula. Logically speaking, he should be able to put up a fight against Xiang Yang. However, the difference between the late stage of Jindan and the early stage of Yuanying is not only in terms of power, but also in terms of comprehension of the heavenly law. The difference in realms is very difficult to make up for. At the moment, Qin Yu also feels uncertain. If I join forces with Xiao He and use our own unique skills, maybe we can succeed. Qin Yu secretly calculates in his mind. Qin De continues. That Xiang Yang is very rude and unreasonable. He even tried in vain to make my Qin clan return directly to the 3 eastern region counties. A faint cold smile appears on his face. Humph, he's a Zionist and he wants to rely on absolute force to make me yield. How can that be possible? Qin Feng also stands up and says, What are you afraid of? Our 3 armies will attack. Even if he's very strong, what can he do by himself? Qin De says with a deep sigh. Yes, he can't do anything to our armies, but he can wipe out the entire Qin clan. Hearing this, Qin Feng is immediately dumbfounded. If an early stage Yuanying expert really wants to be ruthless, it won't be difficult for him to wipe out the entire Qin clan. So, I had no choice but to compromise. I had to use the army to threaten him. Once he touches a member of my Qin clan, I'll wipe out the entire Xiang clan, even at the risk of my entire clan being killed. Only then did this old geezer have some misgivings. Qin De says with a sigh. Now Qin Feng finally understands his father's difficulties. Wiping out the entire Qin clan was possible in the past, but now it's impossible. Qin Yu's ice-cold voice rises. Qin De, Fengjiuzi, Qin Feng and Su Yuan all look at Qin Yu. They somewhat cannot believe that Qin Yu just said such overbearing words. However, at the moment, Qin Yu's swift and fierce aura and the coldness in his eyes have already shown his determination. Xiao Yu, you're no match for him. Fengjiuzi reprimands coldly. Even though you were able to kill late-stage Jin Dan experts, the gap between late-stage Jin Dan experts and early-stage Yuanying experts is too big. That's a gap in realms, which is very difficult to make up for with power. They've been practicing for nearly 1,000 years. You've only been practicing for 20 years. How can you compare realms? Qin Yu understands Fengjiuzi's words, but he says nothing. Qin Yu does not know what his own realm is like, but he knows one thing. That is, Lu Xing's tears energy is slowly nourishing his soul at all times. Qin Yu's cultivation level is improving almost all the time. Even though it's slow, the advantage is that it never stops. Don't worry. We can endure it. When you weren't here, I didn't have a solution. Now that you're here, I have a solution. You just have to endure it first. You've reached your current realm in 20 years. Given your practicing speed, you can practice for another 10 to 20 years. At that time, it won't be too late to make a move when you're 100% sure. Qin De knows his third son Qin Yu's temper very well. Once he has made a decision, there is simply no way to persuade him. Therefore, he can only use this method to persuade him. Qin Yu nods his head, but does not say anything. He does not want his father to worry. Xiao Hei, do you think we can deal with an early-stage Yuanying Zionist if we join hands? Qin Yu says through his holy sense. You didn't die even after encountering a mythical beast like the dragon Rocky Lion. Big brother, you're actually scared by an early-stage Yuanying Zionist. Xiao Hei's voice rises in Qin Yu's mind through his holy sense. Hearing this, Qin Yu can't help but smile. Naturally, Qin Yu has also made a decision. Chapter 90. Qin Yu has returned. Qin De has also ordered someone to pass on this news to Qin Zheng in Wuxia town. In Xiang town, the Qin clan is also staying together. It is very warm. At the moment, in the Weiyang Palace of the Imperial Palace of Bachu County, pass on my order. The 200,000 armored cavalrymen of my Xiang clan are to be dispatched. Any army of the Qin clan loitering outside the city is to be directly routed, killed or captured. Don't worry about anything else. Xiang Yang's voice comes out from behind the beaded curtain. Mr. Lan says doubtfully. Master, you're saying that we should take out our trump card army to attack the Qin clan's army? Yes. Xiang Yang says indifferently. Mr. Lan immediately bows and says, Master, the Qin clan is now encircling our Bachu County from 3 sides. At this moment, we don't even have enough soldiers to defend ourselves. Do you want us to dispatch the most important 200,000 armored cavalrymen? This, Xuemo, how long have you been following me? Xiang Yang asks in reply. Lan Xuemo says respectfully, I've been following you for nearly 100 years. For nearly 100 years, I originally thought you were the smartest of my several disciples, but now it looks like you've really disappointed me. Xiang Yang says with a sigh. Hearing this sigh from behind the beaded curtain, Lan Xuemo's mind immediately churns like lightning. Suddenly, Lan Xuemo remembers one thing, his master's martial prowess. Could it be you've made some kind of agreement with that Qin De? Lan Xuemo asks cautiously. Xiang Yang bursts out laughing. Looks like you're not too stupid. That Qin De has already made an agreement with me. As long as I don't personally get into action against him, his armies on 3 sides won't be able to attack. We'll maintain the current balance between us. Lan Xuemo becomes doubtful. Balance? Don't tell me we'll continue to be in a deadlock like this? Of course not. Xiang Yang's voice becomes fierce. No matter what, my Xiang clan's territory was fought for by me and my father. For nearly 1,000 years, I've been watching over it. No matter who it is, it's impossible for anyone to take it away from me, Lan Shuemo says again. Then what do you have to do about the current situation, master? Xiang Yang calmed down and smiled faintly. I just need a period of time, a period of transition. Your fourth junior brother has already been ordered by me to bring several tens of talented members of the imperial family to a secret place. Lan Shuemo frowned. Now that his master had left the Xiang clan's bloodline alive, perhaps he was about to act ruthlessly. Within a year, I will use their lives to threaten the leaders of the various forces of the Qing clan to pledge allegiance to me. To me, this is a piece of cake. Of course, on the eve of the counterattack, I have to raise the morale of my Xiang clan's army, Xiang Yang says indifferently. Lan Shuemo nodded to himself. Yes, morale. The morale of an army is very important. During this period of time, the Qing clan's army has seized 3 of the Xiang clan's 4 counties, with a nearly unstoppable momentum. Now that the morale of the Xiang clan's army is almost depleted, the most important thing is to restore it. Whether it's the Mu clan or the Shangguan clan. Even if the higher-ups have sided with the Qing clan, I don't believe that those generals or deputy generals will be 100% loyal to the Qing clan, as long as I threaten them with death. Humph. I believe it's normal for them to side with the Xiang clan. Xiang Yang's voice becomes ice-cold. At this critical moment, I have no choice but to use some extreme measures. The Qing clan is very powerful, so we have to disrupt its army's morale and lower its morale. When the time comes, my Xiang clan's army will set out. Together with the leaders of the forces I've threatened, the army will definitely win. Now Lan Shuemo understands completely. The reason why I'm sending the armored cavalry to attack those scattered troops is to raise the morale of my Xiang clan. The Qing clan doesn't dare to attack, so it can only defend passively. Haha, master is indeed brilliant. Now Lan Shuemo also understands completely. When Xiang Yang discussed this with Qinda, he seemed to be at a disadvantage. But Xiang Yang is definitely not an ordinary person. Almost as soon as they talked, he came up with a series of follow-up plans in his mind. After all, Xiang Yang is actually the first emperor of the Chu kingdom. Moreover, Xiang Yang has a backup plan. Even if the first wave of attack fails, some of the Xiang clan's descendants will have already been sent to a secret place. Together with the Xiang clan's wealth, secret forces, and the existence of Xiang Yang, it will not be difficult for the Xiang clan to rise again. All right, Shuemo, do as I say. Sending the Xiang clan's armored cavalry to do these trivial things is like using a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. Xiang Yang says with an indifferent smile. The Xiang clan's armored cavalry is absolutely an elite troop of the Xiang clan. Each of its warriors is a qualified warrior who has gone through bloody battles. The Xiang clan's armored cavalry has had an illustrious reputation since the era of the Western Chu conqueror. For so many years, with Xiang Yang's insistence behind the scenes, the Xiang clan's armored cavalry has never slacked off in their training. Within the territory of Leishui County, the Xiang clan's armored cavalry attacks everywhere. Almost no troops dare to wander between cities anymore. Once there are any idle troops, they will be destroyed by the Xiang clan's armored cavalry in one fell swoop. The troops in Leishui County are all holed up in the cities. For the time being, the Xiang clan's morale soars. The Xiang clan's army roams between cities and often calls for battle outside the cities. But the Qing clan's army can only sullenly hang up a sign saying that they are not going to fight. The Xiang clan's army inevitably becomes even more arrogant. Even though the Qing clan's warriors are furious, military orders must be obeyed. None of them dares to disobey. However, there is still an army that dares to go from one city to another. This is the Fierce Tiger Army. 50,000 Fierce Tiger soldiers. Even though there are only 50,000 of them, all of them are the elites of the Qing clan's army. In terms of quality, the officers and soldiers of the Fierce Tiger Army are even a bit better than the Xiang clan's armored cavalry. Moreover, the Fierce Tiger's attack power is far greater than that of a fine horses. The Fierce Tiger Army and the Fierce Tiger Army are a powerful combination. Moreover, a single roar from the 50,000 fierce tigers of the fierce tiger army is enough to make the fine horses of the armored cavalry lose their courage. Even the 200,000 Xiang clan's armored cavalry does not dare to attack the 50,000 fierce tiger army. However, only the 50,000 fierce tiger army dares to do so. The other troops in Leishui County have no choice but to withdraw because of military orders. Who knows how long these kinds of days will last? In the town of Xiang, big brother, second brother cheers. The three brothers Qin Yu, Qin Feng and Qin Zheng are sitting around a stone table and drinking to their heart's content under a willow tree in the courtyard. Qin Zheng has received the news that Qin Yu has returned, so he is wild with joy and rushes to the town of Xiang extremely fast from the town of Wuxue. The three brothers have reunited this time, so when they talk about their experiences, they all sigh endlessly. When Qin Yu was a child in Misty Villa, the three brothers were still frolicking with each other in that hot spring. That scene seems to still be in front of their eyes. However, 10 odd years have passed, and the three brothers have all made their own achievements. Qin Feng, the commander of an army, was the first to break through Leishui County. Now he is only 28 years old, but has already reached the late Xiantian stage. Qin Zheng, the next clan master of the Qin clan, will even become the emperor of the new dynasty in the future. Qin Yu, even though he is the youngest, and in the past he did not stand out, but now he has attracted everybody's attention. A 20-year-old youngster has already surpassed a Shangxian like Fenjiuzi. Qin Yu can even deal with Wu Da. Each of the three brothers of the Qin clan is really outstanding. We were about to unify the whole Chu kingdom. Who could have thought that an old geezer from the Xiang clan, a super expert who has reached the early yuanying stage. Qin Feng drinks up the wine in his cup in one gulp, then suddenly puts it down. Obviously he is very indignant. Qin Zheng says with a sigh, "Father said that this Xiang Yang is extraordinarily powerful. Even if father and Uncle Feng join forces, they still won't be able to withstand a single blow from this Xiang Yang." Qin Feng looks at Qin Yu and says, "Xiao Yu, remember, the Qin clan's hope is on you. You must remember that no matter what happens, we can't afford to lose. Our Qin clan can't afford to lose. Once you fail, the Qin clan will be finished. Therefore, you must endure. Endure until you're 100% sure you can take action." Qin Feng looks at Qin Yu with an expectant look in his eyes. "Xiao Yu, you must endure." Qin Zheng also looks at Qin Yu, big brother, second brother. For the moment, Qin Yu has thought of many things in his mind. But facing the expectations of his big brother and second brother, what can he do? He can only nod. At night in Qin Da's room, "Your Highness, now the Xiang clan is unscrupulous and is attacking our scattered troops everywhere. Some cities don't have enough food, so they even have to ask the fierce tiger army to transport the food themselves. This is really," Su Yuan says with a sigh, "having the fierce tiger army, the absolute trump card, transport the food naturally makes Su Yuan feel helpless." Qin Da looks out of the room, through the window with a deep frown. "Su Yuan, the current situation is very unfavorable to us, very unfavorable. Even though that Xiang Yang looks like he's afraid of our army, and doesn't dare to do anything. But what kind of person is Xiang Yang? How was the Chu dynasty founded in the past? How did it become the most powerful of the three big dynasties?" Says Qin Da disappointedly. When the hegemon of Western Chu died, the Xiang clan became the target of public criticism. In that situation, Xiang Yang was still able to lead the Xiang clan to establish the Chu dynasty. Moreover, he even made the Chu dynasty the most powerful of the three big dynasties. Some of the stratagems and tricks that Xiang Yang used in the past have even been recorded in books and handed down to later generations. Xiang Yang's wisdom is definitely not to be underestimated. Moreover, which old bastard is not extremely cunning? This genius of the Xiang clan, who has lived for 1,000 years, is definitely not to be underestimated. We can't attack. We simply don't know what kind of tricks that Xiang Yang is going to use. Moreover, this Xiang Yang, he himself is too strong. In the early stage of yuanying, we simply can't threaten him. Qin Da says with a sigh. Su Yuan says, "Xiao Yu and that black eagle, Aren't they both able to deal with late-stage Jin Dan experts? If they join forces, perhaps they can deal with that Xiang Yang. Hearing Qin Yu's name, Qin De says with a gratified smile. Luckily the Qin clan still has Qin Yu, the son I paid the least attention to and paid the least attention to in the past, has now become a person who is related to the future of the Qin clan. But we definitely can't let you attack now. You're not a Zionist, so you simply can't imagine the gap between two levels. It's really hard to make up for the gap between levels. Qin De's eyes glitter with determination. Why? Your Highness, we can't drag this out any longer. The longer we drag it out, the more dangerous it will be for us. Who knows what kind of tricks that Xiang Yang is actually preparing? Su Yuan is also somewhat afraid of that Xiang Yang. This old guy who has lived for nearly 1,000 years not only has extraordinary tricks up his sleeves, but is also very powerful. He is indeed difficult to deal with. Qin De says slowly with a shake of his head. 10 years or 20 years. Given yours current rate of practice, we only need to wait for another 10 or 20 years. At that time, Yor will have 100% confidence in killing Xiang Yang. Only then will we let Yor attack. Our Qin clan can't afford to fail. 10 or 20 years. Many things will happen in these 10 or 20 years. 10 or 20 years is enough for Xiang Yang to make a comeback. Su Yuan says hurriedly. Make a comeback? Qin De says grimly. The current situation won't last long. I'm not so incompetent as to let Xiang Yang make a comeback. At the very least, I have to maintain my influence in the army. At most, Xiang Yang can only threaten the leaders of the army. Fine. Then I'll reduce the influence of the army leaders and increase the influence of the Qin clan. After all, Qin De is also an outstanding person. He is not someone that Xiang Yang can easily bully. Your Highness, at a certain point, when the Xiang clan stabilizes, that Xiang Yang will probably assassinate the Qin clan's disciples. Su Yuan says worriedly. Assassinate? Qin De says with a cold laugh. He can kill as many people as he wants. If I die, I'll die. As long as Xiaoyu doesn't die, we can kill that Xiang Yang later. The Xiang clan is not enough to be feared. Otherwise, even if we obtain the world, with Xiang Yang's existence, our Qin clan won't be able to sit still. Su Yuan lets out a sigh. He has to admit that this is the most helpless solution. In Qin Yu's room, Qin Yu, who is sitting with legs crossed on the bed, opens his eyes. There seems to be a layer of mist in Qin Yu's eyes. Father. Qin Yu's holy sense knows everything that happened just now. Qin Yu's eyes flash. Don't worry, father. No matter what happens, I won't let you down. 10 to 20 years is too long. It's long enough for many things to happen. I can't bear the pain of losing you and my brothers. A faint smile suddenly appears on the corners of Qin Yu's mouth. Master, maybe I'll have to use that trick of yours this time. These days, Qin Yu has been living very happily in the town of Xiang. The three brothers often get together. Qin De also spends time with his three sons. For so many years, it has been very rare for the four of them to get together like this. One early morning, when Qin De has just gotten up and walked out of his room, suddenly, Father, Xiaoyu has disappeared. This is the jade box he left behind. I can't open it. Qin Zheng runs over with the jade box in his hand. He's disappeared. Qin De's face changes color. He immediately takes the jade box. At a glance, he can tell that this is the most basic restrictive spell. Generally, any Zionist can open it. Of course, if you're not a Zionist, you simply won't be able to open it. Qin De opens the jade box with ease. There is a letter and 3 ancient books in it. There are 4 characters on the letter. Respectfully opened by Father. Qin De's heart is shaken. He has a very bad premonition. He immediately opens the letter. Father, by the time you open this letter, I'll probably have already arrived in Bachu County. Father, you must know my speed. I can only guarantee that Xiang Yang will definitely die in this battle, no matter what happens. The ancestral dragon art was left behind by the first emperor, and it can only be used up to the Aura's core stage. The 3 secret manuals I left behind are all top-notch cultivation manuals, and they have detailed descriptions from the Aura's core stage to the Great Success stage. These techniques are different from the Xiuzhen techniques of the overseas immortal islands. There's no need to worry about other people finding trouble with them. This is all I can do for you. You leave this message. Chapter 91. Qinda's hands, which are holding the letter, tremble slightly. The expression on his face changes several times in the blink of an eye. Father, what's wrong with Xiaoyu? What does this letter say? Qinzheng hurriedly asks Qinda with an anxious expression. At the moment, Qinzheng has a bad feeling in his heart, especially after seeing Qinda's expression. The muscles on Qinda's face slightly tremble. His eyes turn red in the blink of an eye. Then he takes a deep breath. His whole chest takes a deep breath like a bellows, trying hard to suppress the surging emotions in his body. He must endure. Qinda's eyes are moist. He hands the letter to Qinzheng beside him. How do you want father to treat you? Qinda raises his head to look at the sky. His face is full of disappointment and frustration. I'm sorry, but you've helped me time and time again. Last time you didn't hesitate to perish together with others. Now Qinda still remembers those words in his heart. I can only guarantee that no matter what happens in this battle, Xiangyang will definitely die. Qinda knows his third son very well. As long as he guarantees it, it will definitely be accomplished. But in order to achieve his goal, his third son will even disregard his own life. This is his son Qinyu. Should he be proud to have such a son? But at the moment, Qinda is very distressed. He knows that his son Qinyu is going for the Qin clan. As long as they win this battle, the Qin clan will have a lot of benefits. But he is a father after all. The resonating bloodline feelings between the father and son could not be concealed. Father Xiaoyu. How can he be so muddle-headed? We can wait for 10 or 20 years. Then, Qinzheng is also in a panic at the moment. But he has no choice now. Chase after him. From here to Bachu County, even Fenjiuzi and the others need a day's time. Qinyu only needs 2 to 4 hours to get there. They simply cannot catch up with him. Qinyu's speed is really too fast. Wait, 10 or 20 years is too long. A lot of things can happen in this period of time. Qinda completely understands what his son is thinking in his heart. But the more he understands what his son is thinking, the more pain he feels in his heart. Xiaoyu, third brother. Qinzheng's face was also filled with grief. He also completely understood. Second brother, where's little you? What are you all doing? Qin Feng also ran over. Qinda suddenly says to Qinzheng, Zheng this letter and the 3 secret books are the most important treasures of the Qin family. You must protect them well. Remember, from now on, you'll be in charge of everything in the Qin family. You represent the entire Qin family. Don't be impulsive. Qinda puts the 3 secret books in Qinzheng's hands. Qinzheng couldn't help being startled. Looking at Qinda, he asked doubtfully, Lord Father, what are you doing? Since you said that he could kill Xiangyang, I believe that he will succeed. That Xiangyang is dead for sure. However, all of you know Yuer's temper. He doesn't fear death. In this battle, in order to kill Xiangyang, it's hard to say whether Yuer will be able to return. Qinda's voice was extremely low. On one side, Qin Feng and Qinzheng were listening. As brothers, of course they knew Qin Yu's temper. Thinking of this, Qinzheng's and Qin Feng's faces immediately changed color greatly. Haha. No matter what, let your Lord Father be impulsive for a while. If I don't see Yuer again, I'll feel uneasy for the rest of my life. Zheng remember, everything in the Qin family is in your hands. Feng remember, you must protect the Qin family well. Qinda entrusts his 2 sons. Everything in the Qin family is in the hands of you 2 brothers. Qinda looks at his 2 sons. Qinzheng and Qin Feng clench their teeth tightly. Their eyes are slightly red, but they still nod resolutely. Seeing his 2 sons' reactions, Qinda smiles. His smile is very relaxed. Haha. I, Qinda, have lived for so long. The thing I'm most proud of is that I have 3 sons like you. A flying sword appears under Qinda's feet. He turns his head and takes a look at his 2 sons. Stepping on the flying sword, he flies up into the sky directly. Lord Father. Qinzheng and Qin Feng look at Qinda, who is gradually leaving in the sky. Yuer. Qinyu's image seems to appear in Qinda's eyes. Lord Father owes you too much. At this time, how can I still hide behind you and let you fight to the death in front of me? Even if I die, Lord Father will still be by your side. Qin derides the flying sword. His long hair flutters wantonly. His whole person gives off an unrestrained feeling. Qin knows that he was impulsive this time. But no matter how you live your life, if you are always too rational, then living is too tiring. At this moment, the feelings that have been suppressed in Qin's heart for a long time completely break out. He doesn't want to care about anything else. Now that the Qin family has been handed over to his two sons, he is completely at ease. At this moment he is impulsive and wanton, but he enjoys this feeling. Stepping on the flying sword, Qin turns into a beam of light and disappears directly on the western horizon. Qin Yu and Xiaohei have already reached the territory of Bachu County. At the moment, they are only a short distance away from the capital. Xiaohei, this battle is very dangerous. Qin Yu says to Xiaohei by his side through holy sense communication. Big brother, don't talk nonsense. You and I have never been separated for so many years. We even dare to face divine beasts. What is there to be afraid of? Isn't he just a Zionist at the early stage of Yuanying? Big brother, don't be so modest in front of me in the future. The Black Eagle looks at Qin Yu with his sharp eyes. His eyes emit a strong feeling of not giving up until death. Qin Yu bursts out laughing. Ha ha, Xiaohei. I have no regrets in this life to have a brother like you who has gone through life and death. Qin Yu feels a burst of joy in his heart. That's more like it. But big brother, we're not going to throw our lives away. No matter what, we should devise a plan to deal with that Xiangyang. The Black Eagle says, through holy sense communication. This Xiaohei's intelligence is indeed no less than that of a normal human. Qin Yu nods his head and begins to ponder. Xiaohei suddenly says through holy sense communication. Big brother, tomorrow is the night of the full moon. In my hereditary memories, there's a unique technique that can be used on the night of the full moon. Its power is much stronger than my thunder fire. Humph, it's just a Xiangyang. This technique of mine will at least seriously injure him. Qin Yu understands in his heart. Xiaohei is very proud and aloof. Even so, Xiaohei only says at least seriously injure him. Obviously, in his heart, Xiaohei is somewhat afraid of Xiangyang, who is at the early stage of Yuanying. Okay, but shouldn't we go test the Xiangyang's power now? There is a faint smile on the corners of Qin Yu's mouth. Xiaohei immediately lets out an eagle cry. Only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win every battle. Qin Yu and Xiaohei are not even as fast as a golden flame eagle at the early stage of Yuanying. In general, the speed of sword-riding humans at the same level is not as fast as that of birds who are good at flying. Qin Yu and Xiaohei also believe that Xiangyang's speed is definitely not as fast as theirs. Qin Yu and Xiaohei turn into two afterimages. In just a short while, these two afterimages have flown to the sky above the imperial palace in the capital of Bachu County. A man and an eagle stand side by side. The surface of Qin Yu's body is filled with the illusory light silver power of the stars. His whole body is faintly discernible in the fog-like power of the stars. Xiaohei spreads its huge wings. Streaks of lightning also spread out. The enormous momentum of this man and eagle sweeps through the whole imperial palace like a storm. Xiangyang, come out quickly. Qin Yu says loudly. His voice is transmitted by the power of the stars. Like ripples, it spreads downwards with him as the center. Qin Yu's voice resounds through the whole capital. At the same time, it vibrates continuously in the sky above the capital. For a moment, everybody in the capital is shocked. All of them look up into the sky. Those who are slightly more powerful all see a blurry figure in the sky and a black eagle. Xiangyang, come out quickly. Qin Yu's voice reverberates unceasingly. It reverberates between the walls and between heaven and earth. Everybody in the imperial palace, including the members of the Xiang clan, also hears it. At the same time, a sharp eagle cry resounds through the sky. Xiaohei seems to want to compete with Qin Yu. That eagle cry is extremely loud and resounding unceasingly, echoing with Qin Yu's voice. Everybody in the capital is completely stunned by this sound. Standing in the sky. That's a Shangxian. On the streets of the capital, An internal expert looks up to the sky and looks at that illusory figure. He can't help but be shocked. That immortal said something about Xiangyang. Xiangyang. Could it be that he's the first emperor of the Chu kingdom? Is it the same name or the same person? Everyone in the capital was discussing amongst themselves. However, everyone was filled with respect for the person in the sky. Standing in the sky is a power only Shangxian can have. Shangxian are no longer mortals. In Wu De's residence, Wu De immediately opens the door and walks out after hearing that loud voice. Raising his head to look at that blurry figure, Wu De's heart is filled with astonishment. Xiangyang. This guy unexpectedly dares to challenge Xiangyang. Looks like he's also very powerful. Wu De immediately abandons the idea of fighting that blurry figure. An expert who dares to fight against Xiangyang, who has reached the early stage of yuanying, is simply not someone Wu De can compare with. Peng. In Xiangguang's bedroom, Xiangguang suddenly pushes open the door and rushes out. Wearing only bright yellow pajamas, he stands outside the bedroom and looks up at that blurry figure in the sky. His whole body is stupefied with fear. Shangxian, is this Shangxian going to fight Great Ancestor? Xiangguang immediately becomes alarmed. At the moment, the Xiang clan's only backer is Great Ancestor. If Xiangyang is killed by this Shangxian who has suddenly appeared, it will be terrible. Suddenly, who are you, little thief? How dare you shout in the sky above the imperial palace? Similarly, a deep voice comes out from Neverending Palace. That voice is not inferior to Qin Yu's in the slightest. It is even somewhat superior. As the voice reverberates, a black-robed figure soars into the sky and flies directly from Neverending Palace. His black robe flutters, and his long black hair flutters freely. His eyes are extremely cold and sharp. He stares straight at Qin Yu and the others. At the moment, Xiangyang's aura is as violent as a storm. It sweeps through the entire sky and presses down on Qin Yu and Xiao He. At this moment, all the people in the capital, the Xiang clan members in the imperial palace, and that Shangxian Wu De all raise their heads to look at the sky. Illusory stellar energy is drifting around Qin Yu's body like clouds and mists. Those auras, however, cannot touch Qin Yu in the slightest. Xiao Hei's body is flickering with lightning and flames. His fierce aura is rising non-stop. A man and an eagle who haven't even reached the yuanying stage dare to make trouble for me? Why don't you ask yourself whether you're qualified or not? Xiangyang says coldly. Xiangyang's heart is full of anger. Just now Qin Yu shouted Xiangyang, "Come out quickly!" But he feels like he is being ordered around. Qin Yu looks at Xiangyang in front of him and completely spreads out his spiritual sense. Qin Yu's spiritual sense is very strong. That Lu Xing's tear is not very helpful to the growth of his power, and can only heal Qin Yu's injuries. However, the warm current of Lu Xing's tear is constantly nourishing Qin Yu's soul, causing Qin Yu's spiritual sense to also become very tough. Early yuanying stage Xiangyang. You're pretty strong, but unfortunately, you must have been practicing alone. Qin Yu says indifferently, I've been practicing hard for nearly 1,000 years. I broke through the Jin Dan stage and reached the yuanying stage. This was all because I comprehended and broke through on my own. Because of this, even my Xiang clan's technique has a way to reach the yuanying stage. Xiangyang is very arrogant. The Xiang clan also has a technique that has been handed down for generations, which is similar to the Qin clan's ancestral dragon art. In the past, Xiang Yu created a way to reach the Jin Dan stage. Now Xiangyang has created a way to reach the yuanying stage. Qin Yu, however, laughs. Xiangyang, your talent is pretty good. Unfortunately, you comprehended it on your own. Let me ask you, how many flying sword techniques do you know? How many restrictive spells do you know? Do you know the secret of weapon refining? Qin Yu says with a cold laugh. Xiangyang's face changes color slightly. A person who practices alone has limited energy. Being able to reach the yuanying stage is already very good. Those so-called flying swords, sword techniques, secret methods of restriction, and the mysteries of refining tools were all created by some cultivation sects that have been passed down for tens of thousands of years through the efforts of countless genius disciples. How can Xiangyang create them on his own? Qin Yu's body suddenly moves. Turning into an afterimage, he directly arrives in front of Xiangyang. His forefinger and middle finger form a sword and send out several illusory sword rays of stellar force. At the same time, Qinyu clenches his fist and punches at Xiangyang. Humph! Xiangyang gives a cold snort. His tyrannical elemental energy forms a solid armor. The stellar force sword rays shoot at the armor, causing it to shake for a while. Bang! Qinyu's punch hits Xiangyang's body. The armor shakes violently again, but it is not damaged in the slightest. Qinyu's body moves. He has already returned to his original position. That's all, Xiangyang reprimands coldly. But in his heart he is amazed by Qinyu's speed. Qinyu smiles. Just now he did not use the flaming gloves at all. He only used the original power of his fist to attack. At this moment he has a certain grasp of Xiangyang's strength. Xiangyang, your father, the conqueror of Western Chu, died on the river Wu, right? Qinyu suddenly says. A cold light flashes in Xiangyang's eyes. He hates it when people talk about his father's death. In his heart, his father is the invincible conqueror, but he was besieged and killed on the river Wu by the immortals of the Qin family. Tomorrow, on the night of the full moon above the river Wu, us two brothers will be waiting for you, Xiangyang. If you don't dare to come, then forget it, haha. Qinyu laughs loudly, stepping on his flying sword. His whole body turns into Lu Xing lightning, disappearing in front of Xiangyang in almost an instant. Xiaohe also uses the passing lightning, flashing 9 times, disappearing in an instant. Xiangyang's face changes color. He is once again shocked by the speed of this mysterious man and eagle. Tomorrow, on the night of the full moon, above the Wu River. Xiangyang, let's see if you dare to come. That clear voice came from the horizon once more, and it constantly reverberated between the heavens and the earth. Xiangyang's eyes became even colder. Chapter 93. Qinyu and Xiaohe fly side by side. The Wu River is over 2,000 meters long and winding. It's the biggest river in Bachu County. It runs through several tens of cities in Bachu County. The place where the hegemon king of Western Chu died in battle is not far from the capital. Qinyu and Xiaohe talk to each other through holy sense communication. Big brother, the Wu River is so long. You and Xiangyang only said that the battle would take place on the Wu River. Who knows where it will take place? You haven't told that Xiangyang where the battle will take place. Xiaohe says doubtfully. He was doubtful just now, but Xiangyang and Qinyu are not careless people. Xiaohe guesses that the two of them must have already understood each other, so he did not ask. Only now does he ask. Qinyu says with a smile. Do you still remember what I said to him just now? Xiaohe recalls what Qinyu said just now. After thinking carefully for a while, he understands. Haha, big brother, you're really insidious. No wonder that Xiangyang's face changed when he heard what you said. Xiaohe is also very intelligent. After thinking carefully, he naturally understands. At first Qinyu was talking to Xiangyang, but then he suddenly mentioned Xiangyang, your father, the hegemon king of Western Chu, died on the Wu River, didn't he? And then proposed a battle to Xiangyang. What kind of person is Xiangyang? Of course he knows that the location of their battle is the place where the hegemon king of Western Chu died. Qinyu's meaning is very clear. Your father, the hegemon king of Western Chu, died here. This time I want you to die here too. Humph, 1,000 years ago, my clan Shangxian killed the Jin Dan stage Xiangyang on the Wu River. 1,000 years later, us two brothers killed the even more powerful Xiangyang at the same place. Qinyu says with a smile. Xiaohe sneered through his holy sense. Let the father and son die together. Xiangyang should be satisfied. Other than Qinyu, Xiaohe didn't want to talk to anyone else. Xiaohe was only slightly friendly to the Qin family members. Because of his relationship with Qinyu, Xiaohe didn't care about ordinary people at all. As for the Xiang clan, Xiaohe was also very hostile to them because of their relationship with Qinyu. Xiaohe, I have one more thing to do tonight. Can you guess what it is? Qinyu said with a smile. One more thing. Xiaohe pondered for a while before replying. Elder brother, you've already explained to your family. Logically speaking, you should have nothing to worry about. Oh, I see. Xiaohei's sharp eagle eyes gleamed. Would right? Qin Yu said through his holy sense. Smart. Tomorrow, on the night of the full moon, on the river Wu, we absolutely can't make the slightest mistake in our fight against Xiangyang. Not only our lives but also the Qin family. Therefore, if this Wood, a late-stage Jindan expert, is alive, I can't fight with peace of mind. Qin Yu's meaning was very clear. If Qin Yu, Xiaohei and Xiangyang were to fight, and Would launched a sneak attack at a crucial moment, perhaps the situation of the battle would change. This was one possibility. The other possibility was that if they died together with Xiangyang, Wood, who hated the Qin family, would also be a threat to the Qin family. No matter what, they had to get rid of this Wood first. Alright, Wood, his junior brother almost killed elder brother. Let me directly cremate this bastard. Xiaohei said hatefully. Xiaohei, there's no need for you to get into action. I'll send these two brothers on their way together. A hint of coldness flashed through Qin Yu's eyes. He killed Wu Xing, so he and Wood will not rest until one of them is dead. Qin Yu treated people very sincerely, but Qin Yu showed no mercy to his enemies. Xiaohei said approvingly. Alright, elder brother, then let me see how formidable you are. Tonight, the capital will be the place where Wood will die. Xiaohei, let's find a place to rest first. We'll take action at night. Immediately afterwards, Qin Yu and Xiaohei swoop down. They casually find a mountain peak and rest there quietly. End of B1C1. End of B1C2. In the past, the capital was the center of the Chu kingdom. Every night, the capital was brightly lit and could be called a city that never sleeps. Prostitutes could be seen everywhere, and it was incomparably bustling. However, ever since the war started by the Qin clan, the extravagance and corruption in the capital began to decrease. After that, Shangxian's challenge in the daytime resounded through the entire capital. Tonight the capital is even under martial law. Nobody dares to stroll on the streets late at night. In a quiet courtyard, there is a stone table in the courtyard. Next to the stone table, there are only two stone benches. In the past, Wood and Wu Xing used to sit on these benches. However, Wu Xing died, so one of the benches is unoccupied. In the room, there is a small table in the middle of a jade bed. On the left side of the small table, Wood is sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. His long hair draped over his shoulders. Alas! Wood opens his eyes and looks at the right side of the jade bed. In the past, the small table divided the jade bed into two parts. He and Wu Xing each sat on one side and practiced quietly together. They have been together for nearly 1,000 years. Now that Wu Xing is gone, Wood cannot help but feel somewhat unaccustomed. Junior brother, don't worry. That Xiangyang will make trouble for the Qin clan very soon. At that time, I'll definitely go and destroy the Qin clan together to avenge you. A hint of coldness flashes through Wood's eyes. He has never forgotten his junior brother's revenge for even a moment. Suddenly, the door of the room opens by itself. The cold wind of the late night rushes into the room directly. Wood's long hair is blown up by the wind. He narrows his eyes, and his entire aura starts to become fierce. Who's there? As soon as Wood finishes speaking, his face suddenly changes color. Boom! Wood's jade bed is close to the stone wall of the room. That stone wall unexpectedly disintegrates directly, as if it has exploded. The broken stones shoot out in all directions. A fist shoots out from the center of the broken stones like lightning. It looks like a shining iron hammer. Wood flies backwards like an afterimage. However, that fist is even faster. Pung! That fist hits Wood's back directly. A dazzling cyan ray of light shines on Wood's back. At the same time, Wood's entire body unexpectedly accelerates again. He flies out of the room like an arrow leaving a bow. A figure then appears in the room. Wood stands outside the room, staring inside. At this moment, there is a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Who's there? Come out! Wood shouts coldly. However, Wood's forehead is oozing with cold sweat. Just now, during the first exchange of blows, he felt that the opponent's speed was extremely fast. Although he discovered the opponent's murderous aura in advance, he was still hit in the back by the opponent's fist. The power of the opponent's fist actually penetrates his protective true inner energy and injures him directly. An expert. The true inner energy in Wood's body is completely activated. His eyes are completely fixed on the figure in the room. That figure walks out of the room. Wood's face suddenly changes color greatly. It's you. Wood's eyes are filled with disbelief. How is this possible? Didn't you die? I saw it with my own eyes. Didn't you and my junior brother perish together? How come you're still alive? Impossible, absolutely impossible. The person in front of him is impressively Mr. Lu Xing, also known as Qin Yu. Why is it impossible? Aren't I standing right in front of you, Mr. Wood? Qin Yu says with a smile. Wood's face changes several times. Then it becomes frighteningly gloomy. He stares at Qin Yu and says, Qin Yu, I don't care why you didn't die, but do you think you can deal with me with your strength? I remember that last time. You haven't undergone your tribulation yet. Right now you're at most at the early Jin Dan stage. You're no match for me. Wood's tone is very certain. Perhaps he wants to convince himself. Just from that punch, Wood has already discovered how powerful his opponent is. Wood, your life only has 5 seconds left. Qin Yu doesn't say anything else. Instead, he smiles and stretches his muscles. His whole body crackles. Qin Yu murmurs 5, 4, 3. His mouth is counting, but his body is moving easily. In your dreams, Wood reprimands coldly. He doesn't believe it at all, but his heart is in suspense. The elemental energy in his entire body is completely concentrated on the surface of his body. At the same time, his flying sword flies above his head, hovering, ready to attack at any time. Qin Yu has a hint of a smile at the corner of his mouth. 1. As soon as he says 1, Qin Yu's entire body is surrounded by the illusory light of the stars. At the same time, his entire body rushes towards Wood like a ray of light. When the two of them are only a dozen meters apart, Qin Yu teleports in front of Wood. Wood suddenly opens his eyes. His flying sword moves according to his will, shooting directly towards Qin Yu. Bang! Qin Yu suddenly punches out. The flaming glove, covered in a dark golden glow, smashes against the flying sword. In almost an instant, the flying sword is smashed into pieces. After smashing the flying sword, Qin Yu doesn't stop. Pooh! The flying sword shatters. Wood can't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Qin Yu, who is filled with killing intent, has already attacked with both hands. Starfield. Qin Yu turns into several people, completely surrounding Wood and attacking Wood at the same time. Each person's attack is different. Some are pointing their fingers like swords, some are stretching their hands like claws, some are clenching their hands like iron fists, some are straightening their hands like knives. For a moment, claws, fists, palms, finger swords, and fist fingers are attacking Wood's body. Wood's face, which is covered with surging true yuan, suddenly freezes. His true yuan also weakens. 0. Qin Yu says with an indifferent smile. Then he takes a step forward and walks directly towards the sky. At the same time, with a boom, Wood's motionless body explodes as if it were self-destructing. Blood fills the sky. Qin Yu, whose back is facing Wuda's shattered corpse, casually makes a wave with his right hand behind him. A light silvery stream of stellar energy floats over like a blue ribbon. In an instant, it wraps around a Jindan and brings it back. Big brother, you are really straightforward. You used the star field as soon as you attacked. Xiaohei says to Qin Yu while flying in the sky. Qin Yu shakes his head and says with a smile. Not straightforward. I let him live for 4 more seconds. Just now Qin Yu said it would take him 5 seconds, but the real attack only took him 1 second. Even though he said it slowly, Qin Yu's speed was extremely fast. Using the stellar field, smashing the flying sword and killing Wuda only took him 1 second. This would, even the black-winged leopard can't catch up with him. Xiaohei says disdainfully. Qin Yu says with a smile. No, our strength is similar. But when I killed the black-winged leopard, I was only at the early nebula stage. Now I am already at the middle nebula stage. Naturally, my attack power has increased several times. Killing an expert of the same level is also a lot easier. Alright Xiaohei, let's go and meditate first. When the full moon comes tomorrow, we'll go to the river Wu to fight that Xiangyang. At the moment Qin Yu is very calm in his heart. After killing Wood, His only target now is Xiangyang. The morning sun is wantonly sprinkling its warm rays. In the morning, the capital is still bustling and bustling. A middle-aged man dressed in black is walking on the streets of the capital. This middle-aged man is none other than Qinda, who has traveled for almost a day from the town of Xiang to the capital of Bachu County. Qinda also knows that his identity cannot be revealed, so he has used the appearance-changing technique to change his appearance. Qinda walks into a tea house. After sitting down, he casually tosses a piece of silver to the waiter and says, "Waiter, did anything special happen in the capital yesterday?" The waiter's eyes brighten as soon as he sees the silver. He immediately picks it up and says politely, "Dear guest, a big event happened in the capital yesterday. A Shangxian was directly in the air and shouted loudly for a man called Xiangyang. However, that exalted immortal left. But in the end, he said something that everyone in the capital heard." Qinda feels relaxed. "Obviously, Qin, you should not have fought Xiangyang. What did he say?" Qinda immediately asks. "Tomorrow on the night of the full moon, on the river Wu. Xiangyang, let's see if you dare to come." Dear guest, that Shangxian's voice was really loud. Everyone in the world heard it. Everyone in the capital knows it. Since yesterday, a large group of experts and even Xiantian experts have been rushing towards the river Wu. Someone said it must be the place where the conqueror of Western Chu died in the battle. The waiter says affirmatively. Qinda gives a faint smile and nods to himself. On the river Wu? The river Wu is so long. Who knows which section it is on? If we are talking about which section of the river Wu is a bit famous, it might be the place where the conqueror of Western Chu died in the battle. Then he relates it to this person called Xiangyang. So he is even more certain about this judgment. After drinking the tea, Qinda leaves the capital directly for the river Wu. In the Weiyang Palace, the gate of the Weiyang Palace opens automatically. Xiangyang, dressed in a black robe, walks out of the Weiyang Palace. Tonight is the night of the final battle. Now it is still daytime. However, Xiangyang decides to go to the place of the battle in advance. Xiangyang is not a reckless man. Before the battle, he will go and observe first. Otherwise, if the opponent sets up formations or restrictions, it will be terrible if he is not aware of them early on. "Master, it's not good. Wu De is dead." Lan Xuemo runs over from afar and says immediately when he sees Xiangyang. Xiangyang raises his eyebrows. "I know." Xiangyang does not say much. He sneers in his heart. "Humph, are you two trying to intimidate me? But for me, a Jin Dan stage Wu De is dispensable." Xiangyang lifts his robe. His whole body soars into the sky and flies in the direction of the river Wu. Chapter 94. A round moon is hanging high in the sky. The water of the Wu River, which is several thousand meters wide, is flowing slowly towards the east. Tonight the wind is very strong. Even though the water is flowing very fast, there are no big waves on the surface of the water. It is so calm that one can even see the reflection of the full moon on the river. There are over 10,000 people on both sides of the Wu River. Among them are ordinary people who want to watch the fun, and some internal experts. Everybody is looking at that figure above the Wu River with reverence. Shangxian. His black robe is fluttering wantonly, and so is his black hair. Xiangyang is hugging the bear with both hands. His sharp and cold eyes are closed at the moment. Standing in midair like this, Xiangyang is quietly waiting for the arrival of the other party. There is no trace of impatience on his calm face. On the bank of the Wu River, Qinda, who is dressed in black, is staring at Xiangyang standing in midair. He cannot help but feel a tinge of impatience in his heart. This Xiangyang has been here for a long time. He's so calm and composed. I wonder how will deal with this Xiangyang this time. Qinda is a bit worried in his heart. He is worried about the upcoming big fight. He has no doubts about whether Qin Yu will come, because he knows his son very well. Qinda has changed his appearance, so nobody can recognize him. "Qinda." A voice suddenly rises in Qinda's mind. His face changes color. Holy sense communication. Almost at the same time, Qin Yu sees the person who is talking to him through holy sense communication. He cannot help smiling. It is none other than Finjiuzi. Brother Feng, you scared me. Qinda says smilingly through his holy sense. At the moment, Fenjiuzi has also slightly changed his appearance. He says to Qinda through his holy sense. Ha ha, who told you to leave the town of Xiang directly without telling me? You left not long ago, so I immediately followed you, but it took me until now to catch up with you. Qinda says with a smile while shaking his head. At first I was worried that you would go straight to Ba Chu County to fight that Xiangyang, so I ran as fast as I could. Now it looks like you is quite steady. At that time he didn't rush into a fight. Fenjiuzi swept his gaze around and looked at the bright moon in the sky. He said doubtfully, that Xiangyang seems to have arrived very early. Why hasn't Xiaoyu appeared yet? It would be useful to come early and familiarize yourself with the surroundings. Besides, he shouldn't have anything to do right now. Not only were Qinda and Fenjiuzi somewhat anxious, the other spectators were also somewhat anxious. Time ticked by. 1 hour, 2 hours. Qin Yu and the eagle still hadn't shown up. The spectators on both sides of the Wu River had already started to talk noisily with each other. Obviously, they all felt anxious and uncomfortable waiting for the other party to show up. Suddenly, Xiang Yang's eyes abruptly opened, and 2 beams of light shot toward the west. At the same time, Xiang Yang's aura suddenly became fierce, rising like a wave, constantly crashing into a new peak. A fierce wind suddenly rose, sending sand and stones flying. The spectators on both sides of the Wu River retreated rapidly. Only a few experts were able to stay on the shore. Qinda, Fenjiuzi and the others also couldn't help slightly narrowing their eyes and looking up at the sky. Rumble! The water of the Wu River also began to roar, as if a flood dragon was rolling under the water. One wave after another rose and hit the shore with a deafening rumble. Xiangyang, who was standing in the air above the Wu River, was not affected in the slightest. At the end of the full moon in the sky, 2 afterimages floated over. It's you. Qinda judged even faster than Fenjiuzi. Even though the waves were rolling, Qinda, who was on the shore, could still clearly see Qinyu, who had a fierce aura, and that black eagle, who was flapping its wings through the waves. Little Yu has come. That black eagle is very powerful. Just the flapping of its wings caused the Wu River to roar. Fenjiuzi was also shocked by Xiaohei's power. Fenjiuzi simply didn't know that Xiaohei could already cause a fierce wind before he underwent the 4-in-9 heavenly tribulation. Now Xiaohei has already reached the middle stage of the Jin Dan, so he is much more powerful than before. Those spectators on both sides of the Wu River immediately became excited. All of them stared at the figures in the air. The afterimages stopped and turned into a man and an eagle. Blackie closed its wings, and the monstrous waves of the entire Wu River emitted a rumbling sound before weakening. In merely a short moment, the entire Wu River had once again returned to its previous tranquility, without the slightest ripple. The cold wind continued to blow at night. The spectators on both sides of the Wu River all held their breaths. "You've finally come." There was a cold smile on Xiang Yang's face. Qin Yu and Xiaohei stood in front of Xiang Yang, 1 man and 1 eagle. Qin Yu stared at Xiang Yang and said with an indifferent smile, "Xiang Yang, could it be that you've been waiting for a long time? We brothers came late so that you, Xiang Yang, could live a little longer. Don't tell me you're not grateful." Shameless boasting, Xiang Yang coldly reprimanded. At the same time, streaks of blood-red energy began to emerge on the surface of Xiang Yang's body. Then, like a blood cloud, they turned into a faint blood-red fog and spread towards Qin Yu and Xiaohei. In just a short while the blood-red fog completely enveloped them. Xiang Yang, this kind of means belongs to the means of ordinary internal experts. A real Ziotionist would disdain to do this. A faint silvery star force emerged on the surface of Qin Yu's body. The faint silvery star force constantly rotated and formed a nebula. The blood-red fog could not penetrate the nebula at all. Humph! Xiang Yang snorted coldly. He hated this young Ziotionist the most. During yesterday's exchange, Qin Yu had mocked him for not understanding the Ziotionist's formations, for not understanding the Ziotionist's swordsmanship, for not understanding the Ziotionist's method of refining weapons and pills. Now Qin Yu had mocked him for his backward means. Xiangyang, you've been doing closed-door training and practicing alone. Your means of attack are too weak. Even if your wisdom is high, it can't be compared with the accumulation of countless years by a Zionist sect. Qingyu said with a faint smile. Qingyu began to irritate Xiangyang with his words. In a battle between experts, mentality was the most important thing, especially for a super expert like Xiangyang. Once his mentality was affected, he would not be able to reach the peak of his realm, and his attacking power would naturally be weakened. You killed Wood, didn't you? Xiangyang said with a frown. Now I'm very curious. Who are you and why are you opposing me? To tell the truth, Xiangyang did not want to be enemies with a Zionist for no reason at the moment. Me? Qingyu raised his eyebrows and then slowly said, My surname is Qin. Qin. Xiangyang stared at Qingyu and said seriously, You're from the Qin family of the 3 eastern region counties. Which generation of the Qin family's expert are you? It seems that the Qin family doesn't have any super experts who can reach your level. Which generation of Qin elder are you? Qingyu smiled. I'll tell you my name. Qingyu slowly said. Xiangyang's eyes brightened. He stared at Qingyu, waiting for Qingyu's answer. My name is. Qingyu's mouth showed a hint of a smile. Qingyu. Qingyu. Xiangyang's complexion suddenly changed. He was completely shocked. As soon as Qingyu finished speaking, his whole body turned into a thunderbolt and suddenly arrived in front of Xiangyang. His light silver fist suddenly appeared, and at the same time, directly punched towards Xiangyang's chest. Boom! A blood-red protective true elemental force suddenly appeared on the surface of Xiangyang's body, directly blocking Qinyu's fist. However, Qinyu's fist somewhat transformed. In a split second, it first turned into a palm blade to attack, then turned into a sword finger to attack again. Continuous attack. Pooh. Pooh. With 2 vibrations, the protective true elemental force on the surface of Xiangyang's body was broken by Qinyu's right hand. Qingyu could not help but sneer. The next move was to directly use the flaming sword to kill Xiangyang. If he succeeded like this, it would be too easy. However, Qingyu did not mind such an easy success. Flaming sword. Qinyu's mind moved, and the flaming sword appeared in Qinyu's hand. Like lightning, Qinyu's flaming sword directly stabbed towards Xiangyang's heart. The speed was extremely fast. Clang! With a series of metal clashing sounds, Qingyu only felt a burst of numbness in his arm. His whole body could not help but fly back. Qingyu clenched his teeth. His whole body suddenly spun, and with the help of his strong waist, his right leg chopped towards Xiangyang like a wheel. Get lost! Xiangyang waved his right hand, and his right arm directly collided with Qinyu's right leg. However, the result was that Qingyu flew back and Xiangyang also slightly retreated several meters. This fight seemed slow, but in fact it was as fast as lightning. From the beginning to the end, ordinary people on both sides of the Wu River simply felt that their eyes were dazzled, and the 2 experts only slightly retreated a few steps. The speed was really too fast. The people watching the fight on both sides of the Wu River all opened their mouths wide. There was no doubt that just now the 2 of them were fighting. However, in the eyes of experts at the peak of the Xiantian level, as well as Qinyu and Fenjiuzi, the moment Qinyu's figure disappeared, the air vibrated, and the 2 of them flew back. Humph, Qinyu? Don't try to fool me, but you're really cunning and insidious. Just now you really surprised me and made me unprepared. What a pity, you're a bit weak. Xiangyang said with a cold smile. Xiangyang's heart had a burst of fear. This Zionist in front of him was really too scheming. Just now, he had shocked him in an instant and launched an attack at the same time. If he did not have a backup plan, perhaps his heart would have been pierced, and he would have died directly. Qingyu looked at the current Xiangyang, and his face slightly changed. At this moment, a set of dark red armor appeared on Xiangyang's body. This set of armor not only protected the upper body, but also the thighs, arm guards and leg guards. Xiangyang's whole body was completely protected by this set of armor. Qingyu could not help but be surprised. What do you think of my armor? This is a middle-grade holy weapon. I obtained this spirit stone more than 300 years ago, when I was practicing all over the world. Then I learned Wood's refining method and refined this set of armor. Xiangyang glanced at the armor on his body. His eyes were full of satisfaction. Qin Yu had a bad feeling in his heart. I didn't expect this old guy to have a middle-grade holy weapon armor. Alas, I was able to obtain the Inrock flaming iron. This Xiangyang is also a genius. It's only right for him to obtain a good spirit stone every 1,000 years. Qin Yu understood that people should not be too narcissistic. Other people's luck was not necessarily worse than his. Xiao He flapped his wings on the side. Big brother, it seems that we have to join forces. Xiao He said to Qin Yu through his holy sense. Hearing this, Qin Yu also nodded. With this armor protecting the body, it would be very difficult for Qin Yu to kill Xiangyang. In the hands of an early-stage Yuanying master, a middle-grade holy weapon's power was not weaker than his high-grade holy weapon. After all, his own strength was not as good as the opponent's. Xiangyang's strength is really good. Then we two brothers will join forces to attack. Qin Yu said with an indifferent smile. Xiangyang coldly rebuked. Brothers? A man and a beast actually call each other brothers. It seems that you are also a beast. Xiangyang also wanted to anger Qin Yu and affect his mentality. Qin Yu saw through this and was not affected. However, a high-pitched eagle cry sounded. Qin Yu was not angry, but Xiao He was. Whap! Xiao He's eyes lit up, and two bolts of lightning shot out from Xiao He's eyes and struck Xiangyang's body at high speed. Because the distance between the two was not too far, the speed of the lightning shot out from his eyes was truly frightening. Xiangyang was completely hit. You dare curse my big brother? You are courting death. Xiao He was furious. The eagle cry rang out unceasingly, and the entire eagle wing flashed with lightning. Then, one bolt of lightning after another bombarded Xiangyang's body. Xiao He was like a god of thunder, constantly sending out bolts of lightning. Beast! Xiangyang was furious. He could withstand the lightning, but after being bombarded like this, his entire body still felt numb. Xiangyang immediately wanted to charge towards Xiao He, but Xiao He's wings shook slightly, and he used the passing lightning 9 flashes. The black eagle flashed around Xiangyang, and its speed was too fast. Xiangyang was simply unable to catch up to the black eagle, but the black eagle continued to bombard Xiangyang with bolts of lightning. F***ck, you dare curse my big brother? I'll chop you to death. Chop you to death. Xiao He's voice rang out unceasingly in Xiangyang's mind. Xiangyang could not help but go mad with anger. This black eagle was truly too hateful. At the same time, a streak of light shot over. Qin Yu's entire body transformed into a streak of light. He suddenly roared, and the nebula on the surface of his body, and the nebula in his dantian, began to shake rapidly. At the same time, the silver granules in the nebula in his dantian began to light up, and a violent power filled his entire body. Astral field. Qin Yu's entire body was like a flood dragon. He split into 6 people and simultaneously attacked Xiangyang. Total annihilation. Along with a loud shout that resounds through the sky, a black flood dragon surged out from Xiangyang's body and swept out in all directions like a storm. Every direction was attacked. Almost in an instant, Xiao He and the 6 Qin Yu phantoms were sent flying away with a bang. Qin Yu's 6 phantoms merged back into one. With a movement of his body, he stood in midair again. Xiao He also stopped beside Qin Yu. Both of them stared at Xiangyang in disbelief. Xiangyang was holding a black spear in his hand. He looked at Qin Yu and the eagle and said slowly, "The real attack of my Xiang clan's hegemon heaven-defying technique was not a flying sword attack, but a close-range spear attack. This spear was the peerless godly weapon of my royal father, the hegemon of Western Chu, who dominated the world, the hegemon spear." A bloodstain flashed on the handle of the black spear. Chapter 95. Overlord Spear. A close-range spear attack. Formidable indeed. Qin Yu's eyes are ice-cold. He swallows the blood in his throat. Just now, when he used the star domain to attack, he didn't expect that Xiangyang would directly break it with a total annihilation. A Zionist using close-range attacks? This is indeed strange. Generally, Zayashinists use flying swords to attack. That Xiangyang purely cultivates the martial Tao. However, he has reached his current realm by himself. He is not like an ordinary Zayashinist sect. Instead, he has his own way of attacking. Big brother, this Xiangyang is much stronger than we thought. He is actually good at close-range combat. Not only does he have a set of battle armor, he also has a long spear. Both his offense and defense are extremely powerful. Xiao He says through his spiritual sense. Qin Yu quietly says through his sound transmission. Look for his flaws. If that doesn't work, we can only use the last move of our plan. The last move good. Xiao He's voice becomes firm. Qin Yu stares at Xiangyang. He suddenly sneers and says, Xiangyang, at the beginning, you saved your life because of your battle armor. Just now, I used a ruthless move, and you saved your life because of this overlord spear. Next time, let's see what you will use to save your life. Qin Yu's 2 attempts to kill were all broken by this Xiangyang. Xiangyang doesn't mind and says with a smile. Indeed, the first time, I almost fell for your treacherous move. The second time, your astonishing speed really gave me a fright. But do you think I will give you another chance? Qin Yu, you must have suffered from my spear just now. The feeling shouldn't have been good. I advise you not to force yourself, because the feeling below is even better. Xiangyang has a trace of a strange smile on the corner of his mouth. More than half of the power of Xiangyang's total annihilation had been absorbed by Qin Yu. According to Xiangyang's calculations, this Qin Yu must have been seriously injured. However, Xiangyang had miscalculated his opponent's strength. Not only was Qin Yu's body very strong, even the seemingly ordinary sleeveless shirt he was wearing was made by Lei Wei back then. It was not an ordinary item at all. It was very comfortable to wear. Once he was attacked, it would turn soft into hard. More than half of the attack force would be negated by this shirt. Oh, the power of your spear technique is not bad, but it is not enough to threaten me. The power within Qin Yu's body began to surge. When he was motionless, he was like a mountain, but when he was motionless, he was like a rolling thunder. Qin Yu was very confident in his close-range attacks. He spent the most effort on close-range attacks. Pooh! The air between Qin Yu and Xiangyang slightly vibrated. Xiangyang's eyes suddenly opened wide. His right hand that was holding the spear fiercely rotated. Suddenly, the Black Overlord spearhead pierced through the air and attacked Qin Yu. Because of the fast rotation, the spearhead was unpredictable. At the same time, the air within the spear's rotation range was sucked away. A black whirlwind dragon attacked Qin Yu. Ha! Qin Yu's body fluttered like the wind. At the same time, his right hand stretched out. Like a sharp claw that suddenly appeared in the darkness, he directly grabbed at the Overlord spear. With the flaming gloves, Qin Yu's hands were definitely able to go toe-to-toe with the opponent's Overlord spear. Humph! Xiangyang coldly snorted. He slightly exerted force with one arm. The Overlord spear that was originally thrusting at an extremely fast speed actually changed from a straight thrust to a horizontal sweep in an instant. No, it was not a horizontal sweep, but a continuous high-frequency sweep. The moment Qin Yu's right hand was about to grab the Overlord spear's shaft, the Overlord spear fiercely smashed into Qin Yu's palm. At the same time, it swept back and forth at an extremely fast speed. Like an ethereal phantom, it swept past Qin Yu's arm 5 or 6 times in a row in an instant. An inch longer, an inch stronger. Close range. Qin Yu ignored the pain in his arm and immediately attacked Xiangyang in close range. The Overlord spear was too long. He could not attack Xiangyang with just his hands. However, Xiangyang could use the spear to attack him wantonly. Don't even think about it. Seeing that Qin Yu was about to approach, Xiangyang sneered. At the same time his body moved. The spear in his hand transformed into several spear shadows and began to rush towards Qin Yu. Pa! A thunderbolt struck down, directly striking Xiangyang's body. Xiangyang's body could not help but tremble. His attack was also slightly off target. Qin Yu took the opportunity to directly appear beside Xiangyang. His nimble hands transformed into various weapons and began to attack. Once Qin Yu got close to him, it would be extremely terrifying. His hands sometimes formed into fists, sometimes into palms, and sometimes used his fingers to attack. Qin Yu's entire body turned into a gust of wind, attacking Xiang Yang's body outside of his armor, especially his throat, waist, upper arms, and other places. Xiang Yang's face had a trace of disdain. The spear danced. For a moment, Xiang Yang's entire body was like a cannon. Countless spear shadows shot out from Xiang Yang's body. The Overlord spear had already been used to the extreme by Xiang Yang. Sometimes a flood dragon would come out of its hole, and sometimes a python would sweep through the air. Actually, in terms of hand speed, Xiang Yang was slightly slower than Qin Yu. However, as long as Xiang Yang's hands moved slightly, the entire Overlord spear would extend and transform into many different forms, using various inertia and rebound forces to attack. Pa! 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 Xiao He hovered in the air, and a thunderbolt struck down at Xiang Yang's head. The power of this thunderbolt was not too great. To the current Xiang Yang, it was not too much of a threat. However, it affected Xiang Yang's movements. Ha! Qin Yu's eyes flashed with a ruthless light. He used the star energy in his body, and gathered all his strength in his right hand. He punched straight at Xiang Yang's chest. His knuckles protruded from his fist, and the entire attack burst out with an astonishing penetrating power through his knuckles. Originally, this fist should have attacked Xiang Yang's throat, but Xiang Yang dodged quickly. Humph! Xiang Yang's face suddenly turned pale. At the same time, he waved his Overlord spear, and quickly retreated. You beast! Xiang Yang transmitted his voice through his spiritual sense, and cursed in Xiao Hei's mind. Xiang Yang was also angry. This black eagle was always as difficult to deal with as a ghost, and it continuously used lightning to attack him. However, in terms of speed and agility, he could not compare with this black eagle in the air. Just now he could have blocked Qin Yu's punch with his spear, but he was slightly deflected by the black eagle's lightning strike. This attack contains stellar energy, and Qin Yu's entire body's most powerful penetrating power. Even though it penetrates the armor, Xiang Yang still feels his breathing become difficult for a while. His chest aches faintly. Blood even rushes directly into his mouth. Xiao He, well done. Qin Yu smiled at Xiao He, and then said to Xiang Yang, Xiang Yang, you're good at close combat, so you can deal with my attack. Good. Then let me see how you deal with the flying sword attack. Qin Yu also figured it out. This Xiang Yang was good at close combat. So what if he used the flying sword to attack from a distance? A dark golden dagger floated above Qin Yu's head. It was the flaming sword. The flaming sword was a flying sword when it left the body, and a dagger in the hand. With a thought from Qin Yu, the flaming sword immediately turned into a dark golden streamer, and shot towards Xiang Yang. Whoosh! Like a rainbow, the brilliance emitted by the flaming sword shocked the spectators below. Bang! Bang! This Xiang Yang used the Conqueror Spear. He was definitely a grandmaster of grandmasters. In the Hidden Dragon continent, it was very difficult to find a spear master who could surpass Xiang Yang. Xiang Yang's spear was actually able to be used in both close and long-range battles. However, the Conqueror Spear couldn't be as flexible as the flying sword. Puff! The flying sword stabbed into Xiang Yang's armor, but the blood-red energy on the armor surged and easily blocked it. It was not that Qin Yu didn't want to stab Xiang Yang's vital parts with the flying sword, but once Xiang Yang couldn't defend, he would focus on his throat and other vital parts. Pa! Another bolt of lightning struck down from above. Good Black Eagle, you bastard, and Qin Yu, you bastard. Today I'll let you know the power of the Conqueror's double dragon spear. Xiang Yang was really furious, and he clenched his fist. The Conqueror spear unexpectedly rotated, and then split into two. The long spear turned into two short spears. Xiang Yang held a short spear in each hand. You scolded my big brother again. F***ck. You really don't learn from your mistakes. Hearing Xiang Yang's words, Xiao He became furious again. He directly sent a message to Xiang Yang through his holy sense. At the same time, lightning flashed on Xiao Hei's wings. Qin Yu immediately became worried. He hurriedly sent a message through his holy sense. Xiao He, this Xiang Yang's spear is so fast. If he has two short spears, his speed will be much faster. His attack power will definitely be great. Don't be too reckless. Xiaohei simply ignored him. Big brother, don't worry about me. I'll let him know how powerful I am. Xiaohei directly sent a message to Qingyu. Big brother, you were the main attacker. Now it's my turn. You can use the flaming sword to sneak attack from the side. After Xiaohei finished speaking, the lightning on his body became even more dazzling. Xiangyang, you old bastard, you deserve to be struck by lightning. Xiaohei angrily scolded. With a shake of his wings, lightning suddenly fell on Xiangyang like rain. You bastard black eagle, I'll kill you first. Xiangyang could no longer tolerate this black eagle in front of him. Holding the two short spears desperately, he turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the black eagle. The black eagle shook his wings, and his trajectory flashed extremely fast. Qinyu's eyes brightened, and the flaming sword stabbed towards Xiangyang. Bang! Xiangyang's two short spears turned into a whirlwind and suddenly twisted Qinyu's flaming sword. At the same time, he continued to attack the black eagle. Xiangyang's eyes were red from killing. He simply did not care about Qinyu. At this moment, what he wanted to do was to kill this annoying black eagle in front of him. You bastard, you only know how to run. Xiangyang angrily shouted. Xiaohei was already a demon beast of the Jin Dan stage. Moreover, because of his innate arrogance, Xiaohei hated being insulted the most. Insulting Qinyu, insulting him, would make Xiaohei furious. Once Xiaohei was furious, it would be boom! Xiaohei spat out a thunder fire from his mouth. Xiangyang felt the power of this thunder fire and immediately dodged. However, Xiaohei's eyes flashed with a cold light. That thunder fire suddenly changed direction, and Xiangyang, who was close at hand, simply had no time to dodge. Break! With a loud shout, the two short spears turned into two swimming dragons. Two black swimming dragons swam around Xiangyang's body at an extremely fast speed, and the surging blood-red true elemental force also poured into them. The two short spears actually twisted the thunder fire into pieces. Qinyu's complexion changed. He knew that this thunder fire was Xiaohei's ultimate move, and it was unexpectedly twisted into pieces. This Xiangyang's strength was really too strong. Big brother, look at my ultimate move. Xiaohei's voice sounded in Qinyu's mind through his spiritual sense. Qinyu's complexion suddenly changed. He remembered the agreement he had with Xiaohei. The reason why Xiaohei wanted to have the decisive battle on the night of the full moon was that on the night of the full moon, the burden on Xiaohei's body would be a bit smaller. Chirp! Xiaohei spread his wings and soared into the sky. At the same time, an extremely sharp and ear-piercing cry of an eagle suddenly resounded. The cry of the eagle spread in all directions, as if it had substance. Suddenly, the water of the Wu River roared loudly. A bright light flickered on Xiaohei's eagle crown, and at the same time, the brilliance of the full moon in the sky unexpectedly gathered on top of Xiaohei's eagle head, and then spread to Xiaohei's whole body. Suddenly, Xiaohei's whole body was covered with the brilliance of the moon, which was extremely dazzling. Xiangyang's complexion changed greatly. At this moment, he also felt the terrifying power of Xiaohei's body. Blood-red elemental energy poured into the armor, and Xiangyang suddenly raised his whole body's defense to the highest level. At the same time, he threw a short spear with one hand, and unexpectedly shot it directly towards Xiaohei. This short spear could also be used as a long-range attack. Pooh! The short spear was easily repelled by the brilliance of the moon. Xiaohei spread out his wings, and very slowly, slightly flapped them. All the brilliance of the moon directly gathered at the edges of his wings, and then turned into two half-moon brilliances that attacked downwards. The two half-moon brilliances attacked Xiangyang from two directions. Xiangyang's body moved extremely fast, but even when he moved, the two half-moon brilliances still chased after him. There was no way to avoid them. Ah! Xiangyang roared towards the sky, and the power in his whole body surged. Since he could not avoid them, he could only face them head-on. Peng! Yuanying's elemental energy in the early stages was really terrifying. But the two half-moon brilliances were very strange. They actually directly corroded Xiangyang's blood-red elemental energy, but the half-moon brilliances also began to shrink. Even the half-moon brilliances began to corrode the armor. The originally perfect armor was actually corroded and broken by the half-moon brilliances. Xiangyang, let's see if you still dare to curse me. Xiao Hei's voice rang out in Xiangyang's mind. Xiangyang was extremely angry. More than half of his armor had been destroyed. Of course his heart ached, and he became even more angry. At the same time, an even more resounding eagle cry rang out, and a bolt of lightning shot out from Xiao Hei's mouth at an extremely fast speed. It directly attacked Xiangyang. Lightning. Xiangyang was very disdainful of Xiao Hei's lightning. That lightning could not hurt him at all. Suddenly, Xiangyang's face changed greatly. He actually saw a sharp awl in the middle of the lightning. A sharp awl, with an aura that could pierce through everything. Xiao Hei's spiritual weapon had finally appeared. Even Qinyu did not know about Xiao Hei's spiritual weapon. This was refined by Xiao Hei according to the secret method of the inherited memories. Its power was so great that it even surpassed Qinyu's imagination. The sharp owl's aura that could pierce through everything caused Xiangyang's face to completely change. Xiangyang suddenly let out a resounding roar, and the elemental energy in his body continuously surged out. Xiangyang was like an enraged lion, recklessly urging the elemental energy in his body. Such a crazy use of elemental energy caused great damage to Yuanying, but Xiangyang did not care so much. Pung! The short spear collided with the sharp awl of lightning. The short spear fell to the side, and the sharp awl of lightning once again stabbed Xiangyang's body. Pung! The blood-red elemental energy in Xiangyang's body shook, and a stream of blood directly sprayed out from Xiangyang's mouth, scattering in the air. However, the sharp awl of lightning was weakened by more than half because of the collision with the short spear. This attack only seriously injured Xiangyang. First, he was seriously injured by the two crescent-shaped lights, and then he was hit by the sharp awl of lightning. At this moment, Xiangyang's strength was reduced by more than half. Big brother, it's up to you. Xiao Hei had just shot out the sharp awl of lightning, and he immediately sent a message to Qinyu with his spiritual sense. The last move agreed upon by Xiao Hei and Qinyu. The last fatal blow to Xiangyang was Qinyu's move. It was the most powerful move, Qinyu's desperate fatal blow. At this moment, Qinyu's whole body was burning like a flame. Starfield Luxing strike. The nebula in Qinyu's dantian shook rapidly, and all the silver granules burned completely in an instant. The silver granules were decreasing at a visible speed. At the same time, the power of stars formed by the burning silver granules formed a huge nebula outside of Qinyu's body. Whoosh! A huge nebula, with a diameter of tens of meters, appeared on the surface of Qinyu's body. The surging power of stars in this nebula was more than 10 times stronger than the power of stars in Qinyu's star field. This nebula even covered Xiangyang. Whoosh! Whoosh! Qinyu's expression is cold and stern. He transforms into 9 blurs one after another. That huge nebula forms various vortexes. There are 9 blurs in a circular vortex in the outermost part of the nebula. All of them are holding the flaming sword in one hand. Each of the flaming swords contained the power of the stars and released a sword art. After releasing the star field, Qinyu's speed was extremely fast. In fact, the 9 afterimages were 9 movements performed by Qinyu. Because they were so fast, the 9 movements appeared almost at the same time. At the same time, 9 sword techniques were produced. 9 stars combine. After the 9 afterimages combined, Qinyu's whole body was covered with several meters of starlight. It was so dazzling that it could be seen from hundreds of miles away. Qinyu directly bombarded Xiangyang like Lu Xing, although it took a long time to describe. In fact, right after Xiangyang was injured by Xiao Hei, Qinyu's attack had already arrived in front of him. The two coordinated perfectly. Xiangyang had no time to dodge. Hysterical. Xiangyang's double spears shot directly at Qinyu like 2 flood dragons. However, Qinyu's body changed again. Holding the flaming sword, Qinyu's figure turned into several afterimages. A dazzling brilliance flashed. Xiangyang's body trembled. He looked at Qinyu in disbelief. At this moment, Xiangyang's heart, throat and several other vital parts of his body were pierced by Qinyu's flaming sword. 9 stars combine, and the power of the burning silver stars fused together. The attack was terrifyingly powerful. Even though his vital parts were pierced, Xiangyang didn't die immediately. After all, he had reached the Yuanying stage. After achieving Yuanying, his soul was also very powerful. Suddenly, a hint of a strange smile appeared on the corners of Xiangyang's mouth. Qin Yu's face suddenly changed color. He immediately dived down with the help of his astral field. At the same time, he urgently used his holy sense to Xiaohei. Xiaohei, run quickly. Qin Yu's speed was extremely fast. However, in just a moment, boom. Xiangyang's entire body exploded. Yuanying self-detonation. A Yuanying stage expert self-detonated. A terrifying destructive force blasted out in all directions. The experts on both sides of the Wu River only felt a dazzling sun appear in front of their eyes. Watch out! Fenjiuzi and Qinda immediately crouched down to protect their bodies with their elemental energy. The ground on both sides of the Wu River shook, as if there was an earthquake. Ordinary people within a radius of a kilometer immediately bled from their 7 apertures and died. Ordinary internal experts also died in a flash. Even Xiantian experts who were a kilometer away were seriously injured. The self-detonation of a Yuanying expert has already reached a terrifying level. In the dark night, that dazzling brilliance has been seen by all the people in Bachu County. At the moment of the explosion, the whole world is filled with a deep rumbling sound. People in other places of Bachu County saw Lu Xing break through the sky first. Then they saw a full moon appear. The people on both sides of the Wu River felt that it was as dazzling as the sun, but the people 100 li away felt that it was as bright as the moon in the sky. In an instant, it gave people a feeling that there were 2 moons hanging high in the sky, reflecting each other's brilliance. Lu Xing breaks through the sky, 2 moons hanging high in the sky. This fight is really too terrifying. Xiaoyu, what happened to Xiaoyu? Qin Feng, who had hurried back to Leishui County, looked in the direction of the fight in the distance. His face was full of anxiety and worry. Chapter 96. Xiang Guang has been worried since the battle has not started. After all, this battle concerns the entire Xiang clan's celestial network, so he simply stands on top of the city gate of the capital and looks in the direction of the battle on the river Wu. As a Lu Xing flashes past, Xiang Guang's entire heart is in his throat. Lu Xing? Where did this Lu Xing come from? Xiang Guang becomes nervous. Xiang Guang simply does not know that this is the terrifying power of the stars formed by Qin Yu burning the silver granules, in other words, the silver stars, in his body's nebula. By using this unique skill, Qin Yu's foundation, the silver granules, are burned down a lot, but their power is also terrifyingly great. Immediately afterwards, a huge explosion occurs. A full moon, that is comparable to the full moon in the sky, is produced in the explosion. The power of a Yuanying stage expert self-explosion is really too great. Another moon. Xiang Guang's breathing becomes heavy. Standing on top of the city gate tower, he opens his eyes wide and looks in the direction of the battlefield. After a long time after the last explosion, everything quiets down. What actually happened? What's the result? Did Great Ancestor kill the challenger or not? Xiang Guang asks himself non-stop in his mind. Beads of sweat even appear on his forehead. He knows that once Great Ancestor dies, his Xiang clan will also be finished. Xiang Guang suddenly turns around and takes a look at one side. He immediately asks, Yan, let me ask you, what's actually happening on the river Wu at the moment? He also knows that the battle on the river Wu must be fierce, but he is unable to judge the result. Yan feels bitter in his heart. He is not an immortal, so how can he judge? But with Xiang Guang staring at him like this, how can he dare to say that he does not know? Yan immediately bows and says, Your Majesty, we're really very far away from the place where the battle took place, so I can't be sure about the details. But that Lu Xing, just now, should be a powerful attack of one of the Shangxian. The final moon should be a terrifying explosion caused by a Shangxian Yuanying stage expert, Jin Dan. Then who did the self-explosion? What's the result? Xiang Guang's eyes brighten, and he asks hurriedly. Yan hurriedly says, Your Majesty, Don't you know Great Ancestor's power? Great Ancestor definitely won this battle. At this crucial moment, what can Yin say? He could only say this to make Xiang Guang feel at ease. Yes. Hearing this, Xiang Guang's entire body is filled with vitality, as if he has taken an elixir of immortality. His eyes are blazing. Who on the Qianlong continent is a match for Great Ancestor? I heard that even Wu De is far inferior to you. That must be it. That ascendant immortal who challenged us was inferior to the old ancestor, and self-destructed in despair. Since Xiang Guang thinks so in his heart, and Yen, and the other subordinates also agree with him, Xiang Guang immediately becomes even more certain. Alright everybody, follow me back to the palace. Let's quietly wait for Great Ancestor to come back, and prepare a celebratory feast for him. Xiang Guang is in a very good mood, so he immediately orders his several trusted subordinates around him. Then, he rushed back to the palace, and began to prepare for the celebration banquet. The astonishing battle just now had already passed, and the water of the Wu River had calmed down. There was almost no change compared to before the battle. Only the embankments on both sides of the Wu River were in a mess. The terrifying explosion caused the trees to break, and the grass to be blown away. Many mortals were directly shaken to the ground and died, bleeding from their 7 orifices. Pooh! Qin spat out a piece of grass from his mouth, and stood up abruptly. At the moment, Qin's whole body is covered with dust, and he looks like a beggar. On one side, Fenjiuzi also stood up. The power of the explosion just now was really too great. Qin has no time to remove the dust from his body, and hastily looks ahead. In front of him, the water of the Wu River, which is several thousand meters wide, is flowing rapidly towards the east. There is simply not the slightest trace of a person on the river. Where's Yuer? Qin becomes worried. He also spreads out his holy sense. However, as he has just reached the early Jin Dan stage, his holy sense can only reach a range of 1,000 meters. Within this range of 1,000 meters, he simply cannot find Qin Yu's aura. Yuer! Qin suddenly shouts loudly. His voice resounds in the sky above the Wu River. Your Highness, don't worry. Fenjiuzi hurriedly says to Qin. The range of my holy sense is much larger. Let me check carefully. Hearing this, Qin immediately holds his breath and calms himself down. He looks at Fenjiuzi expectantly. Fenjiuzi's holy sense spreads out in all directions. After a long time, Fenjiuzi also looks at Qin helplessly and says, Your Highness, I didn't find anything. Qin's face slightly changes color. Then he recalls the scene of the explosion just now. His eyes brighten as he says, Brother Feng, I remember that Yuer was rushing towards the Wu River when the explosion happened. Right now he should be at the bottom of the Wu River. Fenjiuzi says with a shake of his head. How deep can this Wu River be? Our holy sense has already reached the bottom of the river, with a range of more than 1,000 meters. But we still didn't find anything. Pung! All of a sudden, the water of the Wu River suddenly explodes. A figure shoots up from the surface of the water into the sky. This is followed by another explosion on the surface of the water. A black eagle also shoots up from the bottom of the water into the sky. A man and an eagle are flying over the Wu River in this way. Qin and Fenjiuzi see that figure. Ah, it's Yuer. Qin's entire body becomes excited. He only sees a man and an eagle turn into 2 beams of light and fly directly towards him and Fenjiuzi. In just an instant, the man and the eagle have arrived in front of Qin. Qin Yu looks at Qin. A faint smile appears on his pale face. Father, I've succeeded. Qin only feels his whole body go numb. He cannot help slightly wetting his eyes. There is only excitement on his face. No matter how many times Qin suddenly hugs Qin Yu also hugs his father. The father and son hug each other tightly like this. Father, your body is so dirty. At this critical moment, Qin Yu unexpectedly says something that spoils the fun. Qin is startled. He looks at his body. Just now the explosion has covered his whole body with dust. When he got up, he hurriedly went to find Qin Yu, so he did not remove the dust from his body. You stinking brat. Qin laughingly scolds. He then stimulates his real elemental energy to directly shake off the dust. Haha, you father and son should stop messing around. Go back quickly. Finjiuzi says with a loud laugh. Then Finjiuzi walks to Qin Yu's side and casually punches Qin Yu's chest. He says, "You little thing. I didn't expect that in just how many years? Even a Yuanying level expert has been killed by you." Finjiuzi has watched Qin Yu grow up, so naturally, he has fatherly feelings for Qin Yu. Seeing that Qin Yu has such achievements, he is also very happy. Qin Yu's body slightly shakes. His face becomes even paler. "Xiaoyu, what happened to you?" Finjiuzi knows that the situation is not good. Although that punch a moment ago has some power, it is absolutely nothing for a Zionist. Qin Yu shakes his head and says with a smile, "It's nothing. I just suffered some minor injuries when I used my final move. But it's nothing. As long as I go back and cultivate in peace, I'll be able to recover very quickly." Qin Yu has a very bright smile on his face. What minor injuries? I used the first level of the Dark Moon and lost 1/3 of my power. That move of yours was much more powerful than mine. You lost at least half of your power. I reckon that your meridians and bones have been seriously damaged. If this is a minor injury, then what is a major injury? Xiao He says through his holy sense. Qin Yu glares at Xiao He. Indeed, Qin Yu has been seriously injured this time. The silver granules in the nebula in his dantian are the source of Qin Yu's energy. Qin Yu unexpectedly used his final move to burn these silver granules. The size of these silver granules is only half of their original size. Moreover, with so much energy exploding at once, even Qin Yu's body cannot withstand it. His meridians and bones have been seriously damaged. "Father, let's go back. In any case, Xiangyang is dead. There is nothing that can stop our Qin clan. I can also cultivate in peace. You don't have to worry." Qin Yu sees his father's expression and immediately says to comfort him. As soon as Qin De hears this, he nods to himself. Xiangyang is dead, so naturally Qin Yu can cultivate in peace. It's been hard on you." Qin De pats Qin Yu's shoulder, then says smilingly, "All right, let's go back to the town of Xiang." Afterwards, Qin De, Qin Yu, Heiying and Finjiuzi immediately fly away, heading for the town of Xiang. The impact of this battle is very great. People in the several hundred cities around have all seen the frightening scene of that battle. Lu Xing, who flew away, and the terrifying energy of Yuanying's self-explosion even outshined the full moon in the sky. Lu Xing flew away with 2 moons hanging high in the sky. This legendary battle has been spread by the experts of the entire Qianlong continent. Even the Shangxian of the Ming dynasty and the Han dynasty have no choice but to admit that both sides of the battle are far more powerful than them. This battle has also become a legend on the Qianlong continent, causing every martial arts expert to yearn for it. According to the accounts of the Xiantian experts who have survived the battle on both sides of the River Wu, one side of this legendary battle is Xiangyang of the Xiang clan. The other side is very mysterious. It is a man and an eagle. Many people have tried to find out who this man and this eagle are, but they are still unable to find out. This has also become a mystery on the Qianlong continent. In the town of Xiang, there is a sumptuous banquet. "Haha, come on, cheers, cheers." Su Yuan stands up and says drunkenly with a slightly red face. Now that Xiangyang has died, there is no longer any suspense in the battle. The Qin clan also completely relaxes. Su Yuan, the chief military counselor, usually says that he has to stay sober if he doesn't drink, but now he also drinks wantonly without any scruples. At this time, if the Qin clan cannot win, those generals should all look for tofu to knock themselves to death. "How many years has it been, Your Highness? We've been preparing for this day for many years. We're finally going to succeed. Your Highness, we're going to succeed. As long as Your Highness gives the order tomorrow to launch the final general attack, the Chu Kingdom's last Bachu County will be completely in our hands." Su Yuan says with a sigh in a half-drunk manner. Qin De also drinks a cup fiercely and says with a nod, "Yes, it's been 18 years, a whole 18 years. In the past 18 years, I haven't had a good night's sleep. Finally, we're going to succeed." Qin De's entire temperament has changed. He no longer has the coldness of the past. Instead, he has a carefree air about him. No, it's not just 18 years. Father, the ancestors of our Qin clan have been preparing for several hundred years. Every generation of ancestors has been constantly preparing for the future uprising. If it wasn't for several hundred years of preparation, how could the Mu clan and the Shangguan clan have achieved such a situation? Qin Zheng's entire body is also very excited. That's right. Qin De suddenly nods. The ancestors of the Qin clan have been preparing for several hundred years. How many years of expectation have they had? And Jingyi has also been waiting for this day for a very, very long time. Qin De suddenly becomes silent. He recalls the scene of the past. Father. Qin Feng's eyes glitter with coldness. As for that Xiang Guang, I'll definitely take his head to comfort Mother's soul in heaven. That scene of the past was witnessed by the 10-year-old Qin Feng himself. He has also been waiting for this day. Qin De nods, then suddenly says, Zheng have you completely monitored the movements of the Xiang clan in the capital? Don't let them escape in the end. Qin Zheng says confidently, Don't worry, Father. Everyone in the Xiang clan is under our control. Even that Emperor Xiang Guang won't be able to escape from the imperial palace in the capital. By now, the secret troops of the Qin clan have been completely under Qin Zheng's control. Qin De nods, then looks at Qin Yu on one side. At the moment, Qin Yu is picking up a roast duck with his chopsticks and throwing it to Xiaohei. Qin De looks smilingly at his third son. For the moment, he only smiles without saying anything. Father. Seeing that Qin De is only smiling at him, Qin Yu cannot help but feel somewhat at a loss. Qin De's smile contains a father's extreme satisfaction with his son. That is a gratified smile. Having a son like this, Qin De also knows how to feel proud in this life. The next day, Qin De stands in armor outside the west gate of Xiang town, looking to the west. Behind him, Qin Zheng, Qin Feng, Qin Yu, Su Yuan and the others are all standing. There is also a group of elite soldiers guarding the core of the Qin clan. Several hundred years of preparation, success in one day. Qin De's eyes glitter. The west is their target this time, Bachu County. Suddenly, he shouts to the messenger behind him. Pass on my order. The troops of Leishui County, Shanghai County and Jinyang County are to besiege Bachu County with all their strength. Within half a month, I want the entire Bachu County to be pacified. Yes. Several messengers receive the order at once. They then ride their birds and fly away directly to carry out the order. Leishui County, Shanghai County and Jinyang County each have several 100,000 troops. Following the military order, over 1.6 million troops directly charge into Bachu County. Seeing that the situation is not good, many of the Xiang clan's generals have surrendered early. Internally, the Qin clan spies have been bribed with a lot of money. Externally, the army is threatening them. The last county of the Xiang clan is simply too weak to withstand a single blow. It is swept away by the Qin clan's army as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. This is not a siege at all. It is simply a race. The cavalrymen hurry on their way. After occupying a city, they arrange for some troops to be stationed there, while the other troops continue to attack and hurry on their way. Even though they assign troops to be stationed in cities along the way, in the end, there are still more than 1 million troops in the 3 routes. Such troops converge outside the capital. Chapter 97. The 50,000 fierce tiger army soldiers of the Qin clan completely surrounded the imperial palace of the Yin capital. The soldiers of the fierce tiger army were filled with pride. It had only been half a year, but the entire Chu kingdom had fallen into the hands of the Qin clan. These elite soldiers of the Qin clan were also very proud. The imperial palace's imperial guards have already dispersed. The commander of the imperial palace's imperial guards is an elite of the Xiang clan, but he is assassinated by the cowardly vice commander of the imperial guards. That vice commander leads the commander's head and surrenders to the Qin clan. The imperial guards are in chaos. In the past, the descendants of the Xiang clan led by Xiang Yu were all extremely heroic. However, after 1,000 years of living a luxurious life, these descendants of the imperial Xiang clan have all become corrupt and depraved. Seeing that the Xiang clan is finished, these descendants all come to beg for mercy with their treasures. However, the Qin clan's response to this is confiscating their treasures and putting them in jail. At the moment, the imperial palace is in chaos. Some members of the Xiang clan have committed suicide in despair. Groups of eunuchs, palace maids and imperial guards who are afraid of death are begging for mercy from the fierce tiger troops. There are also loyal imperial guards who are hunting down those who are afraid of death. Chaos, chaos, chaos. The Xiang clan's doomsday has arrived. Everyone in the imperial palace is in a state of panic. They fight each other for the treasures of the imperial family. However, the 50,000 soldiers of the fierce tiger army watched everything that was happening in the imperial palace with indifferent expressions. None of them interfered. In the main hall of the imperial palace, there is only Xiang Guang sitting on the dragon throne. An old eunuch with white hair and beard is standing on one side. Your Majesty. Head eunuch Wang Meng looks at the Chu Emperor Xiang Guang in front of him. Wang Meng entered the palace when he was very young. His only family member is his younger sister's grandson. Wang Meng has already arranged for his younger sister's grandson to go to the Ming dynasty. As for Wang Meng, who was already in his 90s, he didn't want to escape anymore. Sitting on the dragon throne, Xiang Guang has a weary expression, as if he has fallen asleep. Only after hearing Wang Meng's voice does he raise his head for a long time. His lifeless eyes take a look at Wang Meng. Oh, it's Manager Wang. At this time, only you can accompany me. Wang Meng asked, why didn't your Majesty escape? As long as he can keep his life, why can't he make a comeback? Xiang Guang shakes his head. Anyone can escape, but I can't. There is a hint of coldness and fierceness in Xiang Guang's eyes. The Qin clan has been preparing for so many years, but it has never taken action, because it enjoys East vanquishing Prince's power very much. However, back then, we did something that caused the Qin clan to rebel. It's me. This time, the Qin clan's first target of rebellion is me. Xiang Guang's entire body becomes insane. Great Ancestor has long arranged for the most promising disciples of our Xiang clan to hide in other places. This is what Great Ancestor did just in case. Now it seems that this is the only way for our Xiang clan to continue on. They were the most important members of the Xiang clan right now. I definitely can't run away. Once I run away, the Qin clan will spare no effort to capture me. Even those disciples who have been lurking outside may be captured. Xiang Guang's body slightly trembles. Afterwards, Xiang Guang gives a frustrated laugh. I can't run away. Without Great Ancestor, I definitely can't escape from the Qin clan's tight encirclement. Since that's the case, I'll just wait here for Qinda. After killing me, Qinda definitely won't pursue the Xiang clan's disciples too hard. With the protection of Great Ancestor's 4 great disciples, those disciples who have already lurked out should be able to live well. I can only hope that one day, they will be able to avenge the destruction of our country. Then, I will be willing to die. Wang Meng looks at Xiang Guang for a long time, as if this is the first time he has seen Xiang Guang. Then he says with a sigh, Your Majesty, I always thought that you thought I was absurd and muddle-headed, didn't I? Xiang Guang says with an indifferent smile. Wang Meng does not deny it, saying, You only dared to wait for Qin to hear. I also admire you from the bottom of my heart. Now that I'm old, it's meaningless for me to live. I can't do other difficult things. I can still do something as simple as dying together with you, Your Majesty. Xiang Guang takes a look at Wang Meng, but does not say anything. After a while, a black-clad figure suddenly appears in the main hall. After seeing Xiang Guang, he immediately bows and says, Your Majesty, the mission has been accomplished. All the concubines, princesses and other female members of the imperial harem, including the empress, have passed away. Hearing this, Wang Meng's face changes color. He immediately understands that it was Xiang Guang who gave the order to kill all the female members of the imperial harem. Xiang Guang, however, remains expressionless. He waves his hand indifferently and says, All right, I'll give you the last order of your lives. All of you change into Imperial Guard uniforms. When the Qin clan's army enters the Imperial Palace, you can assassinate as many Qin clan soldiers as you can. Yes, The black-clad figure says expressionlessly, then immediately leaves the main hall extremely fast. Your Highness. With a rumbling sound, the numerous fierce tiger troops outside the palace gate all kneel down on one knee almost at the same time. At first glance, only Chinda and a few others are standing among several tens of thousands of people. At the moment, Chinda is leading the three Qin clan brothers, and Su Yuan straight towards the imperial palace. Afterwards, the 50,000 fierce tiger troops also enter the imperial palace closely behind Chinda. At the moment, Chinda's face is cold, and there is not even a trace of a smile on it. Qin Feng, Qin Yu, Qin Zheng and Su Yuan also do not have the slightest trace of a smile on their faces. They all walk straight towards the main hall of the imperial palace, just like this. It is as if they have already known where Xiang Guang is. However, the fierce tiger troops are completely focused on him. Pooh! An imperial guard of the Xiang clan is immediately cut into two halves by a saber. That fierce tiger soldier then coldly withdraws the saber in his hand. On the way to the main hall of the imperial palace, quite a few fearless imperial guards charge at the fierce tiger troops. However, all of them are just throwing their lives away. After a while, the main hall is already in sight. Chinda's eyes flash with a hint of brilliance. He cannot help walking a bit faster. Suddenly, the three imperial guards of the Xiang clan, who were originally running towards him from the distance, suddenly speed up. They rush directly into the fierce tiger troops like three phantoms. Only a large amount of blood can be seen, and limbs can be seen falling down. In just a moment 6 or 7 fierce tiger soldiers have been killed. Humph! Suddenly a cold snort rises. 3 sharp whistling sounds are heard. Afterwards, the 3 phantoms directly fall down on the ground and cannot get up. There is a hole in their foreheads caused by stones. One of them is none other than the black-clad man, who met Xiang Guang in the main hall. Chinda turns around and takes a look at the 3 corpses without saying a word. He then walks straight to the entrance of the main hall. Chinda is outside the main hall while Xiang Guang is inside. The two of them look at each other. Looking at Xiang Guang, Chinda walks straight into the main hall step by step. Qin Feng, Qin Yu, Qin Zheng and Su Yuan also follow him closely into the main hall. Chinda is below the main hall, while Xiang Guang is above the main hall. Even though Chinda slightly raises his head to look at Xiang Guang, there is a hint of disdain in his eyes. You've come. A faint smile appears on the corners of Xiang Guang's mouth. Chinda says coldly, Yes, I've come. Even now, you're still pretending that you're not afraid of death. Xiang Guang, I know you didn't leave, because you wanted to protect those elite members of the Xiang clan. Don't you think I'm right? Xiang Guang slightly narrows his eyes then says with an indifferent smile, If I say you're wrong, do you believe me? At this moment, you're still calling yourself I? Chinda's eyes are full of disdain but Xiang Guang simply does not care. I am I, Chinda. Have you come to kill me? If you want to kill me then kill me. Don't waste my time here. I'm also tired. Chinda takes a careful look at Xiang Guang. You can call yourself I, but I didn't expect you to not be afraid of death. Do you think I'll call myself that just because you told me to? Chinda, you'll never be able to order me around in this lifetime. Even if I die, you won't be able to threaten me. Xiang Guang instead starts to call himself I. At this moment, he is singing a different tune from Chinda. Oh, I remember that some elite members of the Xiang clan. Chinda wants to see Xiang Guang panic. However, Xiang Guang does not care about this at all. Chinda, I can tell you clearly that those elite members of the Xiang clan have already gone into hiding. You have nothing to do with me. How you deal with them has nothing to do with me. Chinda's face darkens. Xiang Guang continues to say smilingly, Let me tell you something. You can't even control my life or death because, although Xiang Guang is laughing, his face quickly turns purple. Afterwards, 2 streams of purple-black blood flow out from his nostrils and mouth. Even if I die, I'll commit suicide. Don't even think about controlling. Before he can finish speaking, Xiang Guang has already died. However, there is only a cold smile on his face. On one side, Wang Ming also gives a faint smile. He takes out a porcelain bottle from his bosom and pours the liquid in it into his mouth in one gulp. Your Majesty, I've come with you. Wang Meng also bleeds from his 7 apertures. Afterwards he also collapses on the ground and dies. Qinda looks at the dead Xiang Guang with a very complicated expression. For the moment, outsiders simply cannot imagine what he is thinking in his mind. Is he happy for Xiang Guang's death? Or is he regretting that he cannot personally torture Xiang Guang? Didn't Xiang Guang wait for father here, to protect those elite members of the Xiang clan, who have been hiding for a long time? Qin Feng looks at Xiang Guang's corpse, his eyes full of coldness. Qinda says with a shake of his head, Feng, you're wrong. The person who knows a person's character best is his enemy. Xiang Guang is cold-blooded, and could even kill his wife and daughter. Why would he care about the other members of the Xiang clan? Then why did he wait for us here instead of running away earlier? Qin Feng asks. Qin Zheng, however, says coldly, Big brother, you can guess from Xiang Guang's last sentence that he knows we're determined to capture him, and he simply can't run away. He might as well flaunt his prowess in front of father here, and then commit suicide. Qin Zheng sees very clearly that Xiang Guang indeed wants Qinda to understand that his life or death is not something Qinda can control. Even if he dies, he will commit suicide, Qin Yu says with an indifferent smile. Xiang Guang is extremely stupid. Don't tell me father doesn't control his life or death. If father's army hadn't pressed him, how could he have committed suicide in such a situation? In such a situation, how could he commit suicide? Even if he committed suicide, he was forced to do so by his father. Xiang Guang still thinks he can control his own life or death. He's just deceiving himself and others, Su Yuan says while waving his feather fan. Qinda, however, walks step by step towards the dragon throne. He kicks away Xiang Guang's corpse, then looks at it for a long time. He suddenly turns around to look outside the main hall and says loudly, Xiang Guang of the Chu dynasty is dead. From now on, the Chu dynasty will be completely destroyed. After several hundred years of preparation, and 18 years of careful preparation by Qinda, the Qin clan has made its fortune in the 3 eastern region counties, controls the 2 northern region counties, and leads the 3 southern region counties. Afterwards, it attacks with a sweeping momentum. At the crucial moment, the ancestor of the Xiang clan, Xiangyang, appears. However, in the legendary Battle of the Double Moons, Qin Yu and Xiao He join hands and kill the actual first emperor of the Xiang clan, Xiangyang. Afterwards, Qinda gives an order, and the Xiang clan's last county, Bachu County, is also controlled by the Qin clan. Since then, the Xiang clan has been destroyed, and the Chu dynasty has been destroyed. In the following month, the entire 12 counties of the Chu dynasty have been reorganized. All of the remaining members of the Xiang clan have been captured and killed. The Qin clan's latent power among the common people has also played an enormous role in capturing the remaining members of the Xiang clan. The Han dynasty and the Ming dynasty originally wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to gain some benefits. However, in this civil war, the Chu dynasty's real military power has been almost unaffected. On the contrary, the originally divided 4 big powers have completely gathered together this time. The 2 northern region counties of the Shangguan clan are completely under the Qin clan's control. The Mu clan is willing to give up the 3 southern region counties. Compared to the Xiang clan of the past, the Qin clan now really controls the 12 counties. As for why the Mu clan rebelled, and why it gave up the 3 southern region counties so easily, the real reason is that the Mu clan of the 3 southern region counties is simply a branch of the Qin clan in the past. The Mu clan has always been in hiding, and is even loyal to the Xiang clan. For several hundred years, the Mu clan has always followed the Xiang clan closely. Even Xiangyang thinks that the Mu clan is really loyal to the Xiang clan. The secret that the Mu clan is a branch of the Qin clan is only known by the clan heads and elders of each generation of the Mu clan and the Qin clan. In the princely mansion of Yan City, Qin Yu is practicing peacefully to recover the cultivation level he lost in the battle against Xiangyang. At the same time, he is discussing Xiuzhen issues with Fenjiuzi and Qinda. As for Qin Yu's injuries, They have already been healed by Lu Xing's tears. In the princely mansion, Qin Yu, Qin Feng, Qin Zheng, Qin De and Fenjiuzi are sitting around a stone table. At the moment there are 3 secret manuals on the table. They are none other than the 3 Xiuzhen secret manuals, left behind by Qin Yu in the past. Xiao Yu, your Uncle Feng and I have already read these 3 secret manuals of yours. Your Uncle Feng said that each of these 3 secret manuals is a top-level secret manual in the Xiuzhen world. Now he's even abandoned his previous Xiuzhen methods and is using the Xiuzhen methods in these manuals. Qin De says smilingly. Fenjiuzi also says with a sigh. Xiao Yu, even if these are the Xiuzhen secret manuals passed down in my school, I only know the secrets up to the Yuanying stage. Moreover, they are obviously inferior to these secret manuals. Such profound and mysterious Xiuzhen methods are probably even more formidable than my school's signature manuals. Qin Yu, however, does not say anything. Instead, he stretches out a hand. 5 middle-grade holy short knives and a black spear float above his palm. Chapter 98. The 5 short sabers and the black spear are floating in the air just like that. Father, I'll give these 5 short sabers and the spear to you. Qin Yu says smilingly. Ah, this is. Qin Yu says with a hint of ecstasy on his face. Weren't these 5 short sabers taken by Wu Xing last time? He completely understands. Wu Xing died, so Qin Yu naturally took Wu Xing's treasures. However, after obtaining such treasures, most people keep them for themselves and never give them to others. Looking at the black spear, Fenjiuzi exclaims in admiration. This spear is the Xiang clan's conqueror spear, right? During the battle on the river Wu, even though I was on the bank of the river, I still saw how formidable this conqueror spear was. Xiao Yu, after killing that Xiang Yang, you even conveniently took his conqueror spear. You're really? Qin Yu says with a smile. It's a pity that more than half of his armor was corroded by Xiao Hei's unique skill, so it's no longer useful. In the distance, Xiao Hei immediately says via holy sense communication. Big brother, what's a pity? If more than half of his armor hadn't been corroded by my dark moon skill, it would have been very difficult for you to kill him so straightforwardly. You're seriously injured, yet you still swam so far underwater just to get this spear. Faced with Xiao Hei's reproach, Qin Yu simply refuses to answer. Father, these 3 secret books were bestowed upon me by my master, but I won't be able to use them. I can guarantee that these 3 secret books are definitely top-notch cultivation techniques in the Xiuzhen world. But for a Zayationist, Xiuzhen techniques are only a bridge. The real path still needs to be walked step by step. With these secret books, Uncle Feng and Father still need to work hard on your own. These secret books can't be considered very useful. Qin Yu says smilingly. Fenjiuzi says with a shake of his head. Xiao Yu, don't be so modest. These Xiuzhen secret books also have all kinds of matching offensive techniques. With top-notch techniques, even if we're 1 level lower than the opponent, we can still rely on formidable and profound offensive techniques to fight the opponent. Fighting between Zayashinists is a contest of fighting power. Battle prowess was determined by spiritual weapons, spiritual pills, cultivation, and various attacking methods. In other words, a battle between cultivators depended on their spiritual weapons, spiritual pills, their own cultivation, and some special attacking methods. Just like Qin Yu and Xiao Hei. In the end, Qin Yu used the astral domain Lu Xing strike. Xiao Hei also used the first move of the dark moon, which was even more powerful than the thunder fire. That was how he managed to kill Xiang Yang, who was much stronger than him. Attacking methods and spiritual weapons were equally important. Father, I still have 10 holy pills here, vermilion jade pills. For Zayashinists, their healing effect is very good. Qin Yu takes out a jade bottle from his spatial ring. There are 10 vermilion jade pills in it. Green vermilion pills were a panacea for healing injuries. Generally, it would be very difficult for cultivators to recover from internal injuries. However, eating a green vermilion pill would allow them to recover very quickly. Qin Yu had Lu Xing's tear, so these green vermilion pills were dispensable. However, Qin Yu only took out more than half of the green vermilion pills left behind by Lei Wei. He kept the remaining 3 pills in another bottle. This was what he prepared for Xiaohei. Green vermilion pills, you said green vermilion pills. Fenjiuzi suddenly opened his eyes wide. Qin Yu, however, is startled. This Fenjiuzi is really too shocked. Yes, it's green vermilion pills. Uncle Feng, is there something wrong? Qin Yu asked doubtfully. Fenjiuzi stared at the jade bottle and said in shock. Green vermilion pills. And there are 10 green vermilion pills. Xiao Yu, who is your master? These green vermilion pills are high-grade spiritual pills. Even 1 pill is very precious. You actually have 10 of them. High-grade spiritual pills? Yes, let me tell you. A green vermilion pill is very important. Once a cultivator's elemental energy is depleted, it can be replenished through cultivation. However, once the internal organs are damaged, it is very difficult to recover. Fenjiuzi sighed. The internal organs are very fragile. You can only use elemental energy to slowly nourish them and let them slowly recover on their own. However, once you have a green vermilion pill, you can recover in a few days. For cultivators, elixirs that could replenish their power were nothing, but elixirs that could repair the damage to their internal organs were very precious. Even for cultivators, once their body's functions are damaged, they can only abandon their bodies and cultivate as loose immortals when they reach the Dongshu stage. As for those who have not reached the Dongshu stage, their souls will scatter, and they will be finished. Xiao Yu, you should keep these green vermilion pills for yourself. Your master left them for you. They are treasures that can save your life in the future. Fenjiuzi said earnestly to Qin Yu. Even if it was 10 high-grade spiritual pills, Fenjiuzi would not be greedy. In the future, you might encounter some dangers on your path of cultivation. You must take these green vermilion pills with you just in case. Qinda told Qin Yu while staring at him. Qin Yu felt helpless in his heart. When it comes to healing internal injuries, is there anything that can compare with Lu Xing's tears? Lu Xing's tears can even heal a fatal injury, like a pierced heart. With such an effect, how can high-grade spiritual pills or top-grade spiritual pills be compared with it? Perhaps even the legendary immortal pills are inferior to it. Father, Uncle Feng, don't worry. I still have some green vermilion pills for myself. These 10 pills are just for you. While saying, Qin Yu took out another jade bottle with 3 green vermilion pills in it. Qinda and Fenjiuzi immediately smelled the fragrance of the green vermilion pills and believed him in their hearts. Qin Yu said hurriedly, Father, this is my kind intention. If you don't accept it, I won't be able to leave the Qianlong continent with peace of mind. Leave the Qianlong continent? Qin Zheng, Qin Feng and Qinda all exclaimed. For a moment, they forgot about the green vermilion pills. Yes, leave the Qianlong continent. I'm going to embark on an ethereal journey with Xiaohei and enter the world of Xiationists. Qin Yu said firmly with a nod. He had already made up his mind about this decision. In the Qianlong continent, he simply did not have any goals. Only by embarking on a journey that was full of opportunities and dangers would life become interesting. Qinda sighed, then burst into laughter. Since you came back from the wilderness this time, I knew you've undergone earth-shaking changes. This time you killed Xiangyang. Yes, you're only 20 years old now, but you've already reached such a level. Brother Feng, with Yuer's achievements, I reckon he can be considered a genius in the Xiationist world. Fenjiuzi nodded and exclaimed, He's more than just a genius. He's a rare talent that only appears once in 10,000 years. Qinda said with a nod. Yes, reaching such a level at the age of 20, the Qianlong continent is no longer a challenge. I should have thought that you shouldn't be bound to a small place like the Qianlong continent. Your father supports you. People should live for themselves and fight vigorously for their goals. Haha, maybe after several thousand years, our Qin clan will also have an immortal who can ascend. Don't you think so, Yue? Qinda looked at Qin Yu and said smilingly. Qin Yu said with a nod. Yes, father. Fenjiuzi, however, said with a smile. You father and son are really arrogant. Do you think it's so easy to ascend? My sect has existed for who knows how many millions of years. In history, Only 2 seniors have ever ascended. Moreover, these 2 seniors ascended millions of years ago. Qinda said, Brother Feng, what you said is wrong. Have you ever seen someone like you reaching such a level at the age of 20? Fenjizi was startled. Then he shook his head. No. That's right. You has already created such a miracle. Isn't it just ascension? I have 100% confidence in my son. Qinda looked at Qinyu. His eyes were full of fatherly love. Qinyu also nodded firmly and said, I'm also very confident. Fenjizi couldn't help but smile bitterly and say helplessly, You father and son, alright, you can slowly be narcissistic. In the following period of time, Qinyu, Qinzheng, and Qinfeng often chatted together. Qinzheng and Qinfeng both knew that Qinyu would leave after ascending the throne. Therefore, they took the opportunity to have a good chat with Qinyu. Qinyu usually cultivated in peace, or chatted with his family members. He spent the last period of time in the Hidden Dragon continent, Fenjizi's residence. Uncle Feng, this is? Qinyu looked at the jade slip in his hand in puzzlement. Fenjizi smiled and said, Little you, this jade slip contains the sea map of my sect. The sea is vast and boundless. If you run around blindly, who knows where you'll run to? Who knows, you might accidentally enter the Devil Island and have your golden core and nascent soul devoured. Thank you, Uncle Feng. Qinyu naturally knew why Fenjizi gave him this sea map. Uncle Feng, just now you said something about the Devil Island. Can you tell me more about the overseas immortal islands? It seems to be very complicated. Qinyu became doubtful. Fenjizi pondered quietly for a while then said, I'll tell you in detail. Your Uncle Feng's sect is called the Pure Sword Sect. More than 100,000 li away from the southern border of the Hidden Dragon continent, there's an immortal island called the Clear Wind Island. There are 2 big sects on the Clear Wind Island, and the Pure Sword Sect is one of them. Qinyu listened quietly. In fact, the Clear Wind Island is one of the few ordinary immortal islands very close to the Hidden Dragon continent. In the overseas immortal islands, the farther you are from the ocean, the bigger the immortal island is, and the stronger the sect is. Who knows how many billions li south of the Hidden Dragon continent is the core of the overseas immortal islands, the Penglai Immortal Region. This Penglai Immortal Region is made up of several hundred huge immortal islands. There are many sects and tens of thousands of Xiuzhen experts. Fenjizi slowly explained. I'm ashamed to say that this Penglai Immortal Region is very famous, but I've never been there. After all, it's really too far away and my power is too low. I don't know how long it'll take me to fly there. Moreover, the journey is very dangerous. Maybe I'll meet with mishaps before I even reach it. Fenjizi said with a deep sigh. The outline of the overseas immortal islands immediately appeared in Qinyu's mind. In the boundless ocean in the south, there is an immortal island 100,000 li away. There are also many other islands in a disorderly manner. Many of these islands are occupied by Xiuzhen sections. Who knows how many billions li south of the Hidden Dragon continent is the core of the overseas immortal islands, the Penglai Immortal Region. Uncle Feng, you said something about a devil island just now. What is a devil island? Qinyu asked closely. Fenjizi said with a smile. A devil island is an island occupied by Xiamoists. Xiamoists are different from Xiaxianists. In order to pursue ascension, Xiamoists will stop at nothing. They will even dare to use sinister methods, such as swallowing Jin Dan's Yuanying. Devouring Jin Dan's Yuanying? Qinyu widened his eyes. Fenjizi says very indignantly, That's right. Devil cultivators are just this sinister. They kill other Xiaxianists, devour other people's Jin Dan, Yuanying, and seize other people's cultivation. Their conduct is really very low. Qinyu blushed with shame. On their way back from the primordial world, Qinyu and Xiaohei had devoured a lot of Jin Dan. This time, when Xiang Yang self-destructed Yuanying, Qinyu lamented that it was a waste of Yuanying. It turns out that swallowing Jin Dan's Yuanying is a devil cultivator's technique. Cultivators are generally divided into immortal cultivators, devil cultivators, and demon cultivators. Immortal cultivators focused on tranquility and inaction, while demonic cultivators focused on power. Demonic cultivation. Let's not talk about demonic cultivation for now. Xiaoyu, you must remember. If you run into a devil cultivator, it's better to avoid him. Most of them are very cruel and bloodthirsty. It won't be good if your Jin Dan is devoured by someone else. Fenjizi reminds him. Qin Yu snickers in his heart. Cruel and bloodthirsty? We still don't know who will be devouring whose Jin Dan. Besides, I don't have a Jin Dan. Qin Yu's cultivation technique is different from any other. He is neither an immortal cultivator, nor a devil cultivator, nor a demon cultivator. In the boundless sea in the south, some islands are occupied by Xiexionist sects, while some are occupied by devil cultivator sections. Not far from the Penglai immortal region, there is even the core of a devil island formed by more than 100 islands. The Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon. The Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon is as famous as the Penglai immortal region, so the competition between them is also very fierce. Fenjizi explains. Qin Yu understands clearly. Xiaoyu, let me tell you something. In the boundless sea, the most powerful forces are neither Xiaxionists nor Xiamoists. It's neither the Penglai immortal region, nor the Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon. Fenjizi's expression becomes solemn. Qin Yu is startled. The most powerful forces are Zuyoists. Fenjizi says very certainly. What's the largest area of the boundless sea? It's not an island but a body of water. There are all kinds of underwater demonic beasts in the boundless water. The deeper you go in the sea, the more powerful the demonic beasts are. Qin Yu is shocked. The sea is boundless and vast. The entire water area is the territory of demonic beasts, so Zuyoists are indeed the strongest. The deeper you go in the water area, the greater the water pressure. Generally, Xiaxionists and Zuyoists simply can't bear that terrifying water pressure when you're several thousand meters deep, or more than 10,000 meters deep. But some terrifying demonic beasts live under such water pressure. Xiaoyu, remember, demonic beasts are very terrifying in the overseas waters. The boundless water area is the territory of these demonic beasts. Nobody knows where their headquarters are. Both the Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon and the Penglai immortal region are sure of one thing. Demonic beasts are the most powerful forces. In fact, Fenjizi has only heard about this, but every school emphasizes this to its disciples. There are all kinds of spiritual treasures in the depths of the sea. The deeper you go, the more treasures there are. But the deeper you go, the greater the water pressure. Even Zuyoists won't be able to go down several 100,000 meters deep. You simply can't imagine how many treasures there are in those depths. Fenjizi's eyes glitter. Obviously, Fenjizi is imagining the treasures in the extremely deep parts of the sea. If I'm powerful enough, I'll definitely explore the depths of the sea. Qin Yu cannot help but make a decision. Through this conversation, Qin Yu has gained a lot of knowledge about the boundless overseas waters. In the overseas immortal region, there are a large number of Xiaxionists and Xiamoists. But there are even more demonic beasts in the water. They fight each other for the sake of spiritual treasures. The overseas immortal islands are extremely large. Some of them are even as large as the Chu Kingdom. However, such islands can often be found in the sea. The Penglai immortal region is made up of several hundred such islands. Its area is even larger than the entire Qianlong continent. The Penglai immortal region, the Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon, and the mysterious underwater demonic beasts headquarters constitute the entire overseas Xiuzhen world. Nobody knows how many treasures there are in the depths of the sea. Half a year later, Qin Zheng officially ascends the throne. He dethrones the Chu Kingdom and establishes the Qin dynasty. Qin Zheng is Emperor Qin Ming. When the Qin clan decided to establish the Qin dynasty, they discussed it for a long time. If they use the Qin dynasty, won't it coincide with the Qin dynasty of 1,000 years ago? In the end, it is Qinda's words that solve the problem. What is true is false, and what is false is true. Our surname is Qin, so it makes sense to establish the Qin dynasty. Moreover, we have total control over the 12 counties. Even if the Han and Ming dynasties want to fight us, they'll have to see if they're powerful enough. Thus, they decided to establish the Qin dynasty. Qinda has taken his revenge, so he doesn't want to run around anymore. Fenjizi has nothing to do. Therefore, the two of them practice peacefully on the Qianlong continent. Qin Zheng is in charge of all major affairs of the Qin dynasty. Qin De Fengjiuzi, Emperor Qin Ming, Qin Zheng, Qin Feng and Su Yuan gather in Yan capital. Father, big brother, second brother, Uncle Su, Uncle Feng, you don't have to see me off. Qin Yu looks at his relatives in front of him and says smilingly. Beside him, Xiao He flaps his wings from time to time, as if he is excited about the upcoming journey. Qin De takes a step forward and says to Qin Yu while looking at him, "You or the Xiuzhen world is very dangerous. Your Uncle Feng came to the Qianlong continent because he's not suitable for that kind of environment. You have to be careful and keep an eye out for other people. Don't be too sincere to others." Qin De knows his son very well. He is most worried that Qin Yu will be too sincere to others and be betrayed by others. That will be terrible. Father, don't worry. I know what I'm doing, Qin Yu says with a nod. Then Qin Yu looks at Qin Feng and Qin Zheng. He walks up to them and says, "Big brother, second brother, I'll leave father in your care from now on." Qin Feng's and Qin Zheng's eyes are full of reluctance to part. Even though they knew this day would come, they still feel very sad today. Xiao Yu, Qin Feng, Qin Zheng and Qin Yu embrace each other. The three brothers only release each other after a long time. Qin Yu suddenly takes a deep breath, then takes several steps back successively, and says to the others, "Haha, it's really hard to part with others. Father, big brother, second brother, Uncle Feng, Uncle Su, goodbye." Qin Yu suddenly turns around and says, "Xiao He, let's go," says Qin Yu in a clear voice. Then he immediately soars into the sky. While flying in the sky, Qin Yu takes a look at his relatives below him. Then, suppressing his reluctance to part, he accelerates his flight toward the south. At the same time, an extremely excited and resounding cry of an eagle rises. Xiao He also spreads his wings and flies away. Just like that, the man and the eagle flew directly towards the south. In just an instant, the man and the eagle had turned into two black dots on the southern horizon. Qin Yu's and Xiao He's journey to the Xiuzhen world has finally begun. What will be waiting for them in the future? You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.